President John Dramani Mahama has directed that the following steps be taken. The National Cathedral Secretariat, which used to operate from here at the presidency, stands dissolved as of 1st May 2025. Now, the National Cathedral Ghana was registered limited by guarantee. In view of that, the Attorney General has been directed to take legal steps to ensure the dissolution of the Board of Trustees. And we expect that to be done in the coming days. Now, 3, the President has ordered that in the interest of transparency and accountability, the Deloitte and Touche audit reports will be published immediately after this briefing. So we will share copies with you, media men present, and we'll also put it out on various portals and social media handles so that the public can access it and review the contents for themselves and see whether the claims that some individuals have been exonerated is borne out by the contents of the report. Now, despite the damning findings contained in the Deloitte audit report, it does not cover the full scope of operations of the National Cathedral Secretariat and the project itself. The Auditor General has therefore been requested to commission a forensic audit into the National Cathedral project and the activities of the Secretariat. Now, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice has also been asked to take lawful steps to ensure the termination of the contract to prevent further costs and losses to the state.
As the Minister in charge of Government Communications and also the Member of Parliament in there, that's Felix Kwachofosu, and he's going to be joining us this morning for a bit more detail into this. Because yesterday, after that particular press conference you just saw, there's been conversation as to exactly what is going to be done next after this Deloitte audit, which we have been waiting for quite a while. If you haven't seen a copy as yet, if you go on 3news.com, now we've been serializing details of this audit. And that's going to be a conversation this morning here on Key Point. Because prior to yesterday, we had visited the cathedral site to find out the state of affairs. And so we're going to be showing you videos of what the current state of affairs is. Now we know that there is some more. In fact, we spent some more than the $58 million that was earlier communicated as the cost of what has been done at the cathedral site as we speak. So we would have a conversation this morning. The most important thing on the minds of many people is that if there was something untoward that has been identified as a result of this audit, then what next? Is there going to be a recovery of the monies? How are those monies going to be recovered? That's the fundamental question on the minds of people this morning. And taking into consideration the fact that this project was captured by the Operation Recover All Loot Preparatory Team, ORAL, and we'll be finding out exactly what went into that detail that they captured in their reports. A member of the ORAL Preparatory Team is going to be joining us this morning. A former Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, and 9 others are scheduled to appear before the Criminal Division 3 of the Accra High Court on Wednesday, July 23, to answer charges related to an alleged 280 million Ghana cedis extortion and money laundering scandal. Yeah, the Office of Special Prosecutor, which has been investigating the matter, confirmed in an update that all accused persons are currently on inquiry bail. Now, the Special Prosecutor also gave detail that between 2022 and 2024, these accused persons conspired to extort 280.51 million cedis from various oil marketing companies under the guise of regulatory obligations. In fact, the OSP this week also is contending that at least 24 million cedis was received directly as he put out in that press statement yesterday, giving more details. Dr. Abdul Mustafa Hamid directly, according to the OSP, received 24 million cedis, while 227 million cedis was channeled through Wendy Newman and laundered via the 3 companies to acquire properties, that is apartments, luxury apartments, so on, fuel trucks, and also construct of fuel stations, we understand, across the country. Now, in a swift reaction, Dr. Abdul Mustafa Hamid himself, through his legal team from Hay Partners at Law, issued a statement on the 17th of July denying that their client had been officially served with any charge documents. In fact, he rebuffed all the allegations, indicating that he should rather be praised for the good work he has done at the NPA before he left. So we would have a conversation this morning. Stay with us here on Key Point. If you recall, the first time that the special prosecutor mentioned this matter, he put a figure of 1.3 billion cedis, and that came down to 280 million. Do we deserve an explanation as to what led to that? We'll have a conversation. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, also this week directed the Economic and Organized Crime Office to launch a full-scale investigation into alleged illegal mining activities involving Joseph Yamin, the ruling NDC's national organizer, and Yakubu Abanga, the national vice chair of the party. There was a letter, which we have a copy of, dated Tuesday, July 20, that's July 15. The Attorney General instructed IOCO to invite the 2 individuals named in what was captured as recent reports for interrogation over their suspected involvement in unauthorized mining operations, commonly referred to as Galamsey. A fundamental question this morning is, beyond this issue that has been put out, the Attorney General says the scope of the investigation should include the Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng report on illegal mining in this country. That brings a different dimension to the conversation entirely. We would have that considered this morning as well here on Key Point. We have eyes on the New Patriotic Party as well, because they are converging at the University of Ghana to consider some 50 proposals to the party's constitution to pave way for, amongst other things, the election of the flag bearer earlier than what the party's constitution states. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We will get into the segment that we introduced last week, which I indicated to you that we are going to travel this journey every step of the way with you. That is the poll tracker. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We'll get into that. Stay with us here on Key Point. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Welcome.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani. From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Welcome back. This is a key point here on TV3. We're live as well on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. We're live as well on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London and the Voice of London television in the heart of the City of London as well. Now, we started this journey last week. That is the poll tracker. And this is going to be a data-driven conversation here on the key point, where we are going to analyze details of polls commissioned by credible pollsters as well, and here for us as well at Media General, that we're going to be doing it alongside to get a bit more detail interface with you, our viewers, on matters of national concern, be it politics, social matters, and matters that bother on our development as a country. You have a say in what we say here on the key point. We continue on the path of last week. We showed you some headline figures in terms of the statistics of who the over 10,000 respondents of Musa Dankwa, that's the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, July poll, of who those 10,000 respondents say they would prefer to lead the New Patriotic Party. Now, beyond that, when you drill down the data, it tells you something as well, very interesting. And that's what we're going to get into. Bear in mind, today, the New Patriotic Party is going on the path of seeking to amend its constitution. They received over thousands of proposals that they have whittled down to 50 for consideration today by the Congress and leadership of the party. One of it is that proposal to elect the flag bearer of the party on the 31st of January 2026, even before the election of the constituency and then also the regional, as has been stipulated in the constitution of the party as we have it. But there's been a court action, for as far as we do know, that has not prevented the party from going ahead with the planning of the event today. So on the back of that, because the flag bearer race is a key part of what you're going to do today, whether or not that proposal of January 31, 2026 will be accepted or not, by close of day today, we'll get to know. But this is it. And I want you to follow me closely. If you go down into the data, drill down into the Global Info Analytics data, as we have seen, even in the Akan constituencies, and we're talking about the Western North, and then also the Eastern region, Central, when the respondents, over 10,000 of them as well, that were engaged by Global Info Analytics, is going to put that on the screen right now. It still shows some data. Some 2,184 of the respondents in the Akan constituencies said if elections for the New Patriotic Party were held, they would prefer Dr. Mahmoud Obamia leads the party, 59.25. Following closely is Kennedy Ohene Japan, 22.7. That's consistent with what we saw with the headline percentage breakdown that we did last week. And then also, Dr. Yaosei Duchum follows closely with 354 of the nominal value of the votes, 9.6%. Now, if you look at the others who follow, maybe you would say it's insignificant, but then again, it paints a certain picture as well as to how things will play out in the next few months ahead of us. Because it's just 6 months. Some will say, well, it's just 6 months. Well, you have Dr. Mahmoud Obamia is still fresh in the minds of people, the most marketed amongst all these persons. That's not in doubt. From 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024, he's been on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. So then, how much of a difference will this particular situation be? Now, considering the fact that he also led the party in 2024 as a flag bearer, and they experienced this historic defeat, one would have also thought that that would have influenced or affected the kind of responses that these respondents gave. In the Akan constituencies, these 5 constituencies, we have at least 3,686 of the respondents also giving the details of what they have and who they prefer would lead the party if elections were held in July. That is the total. Now, to give us a bit more context into this, Musa Dankwa, Executive Director of the Global Info Analytics, spoke to me earlier, and I found out from him what exactly all of this means. That we've seen the headline percentage as to who these respondents that he engaged would lead the party if elections were held in July. But when you drill down the data to look at the Akan regions as we are seeing right now in the western, north, central, Ashanti, you still have votes tilting towards Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Bono East as well. So what does this mean? And this is what Musa Dankwa had to share with us. Take a look at this.
It's a combination of a number of things. One is the very regular phase for the MPP, having been a vice president for 8 years. In fact, having been vice candidate or running mate for 8 years, and then the vice for another 8 years, and then just lost the election recently. So his face is more recognized. And also he's what I would say the household name for now in the minds of Ghanaian voters at the moment. We're not sure how the competition ahead is going to pan out and whether these numbers would change. And if it does, then we're going to see a very interesting race.
The detail that he gave about what this means. But if you look at as well, based on the outcome of what we have seen, the elections in 2024, one would have thought that depending on the outcome of that election, these swing or the Akan regions as we see, the Bono East, Western North, the New Patriotic Party lost heavily in those regions. So would it be right to still say that they are the strongholds of the party, considering the outcome of that particular election? That's the question as well, and how that also influenced what we are seeing right now in this particular breakdown. And based on the outcome of Musa Dankwa's engagement with the respondents, he is of the view that it will take more than one election cycle to say that Bono East or even the Western region is not an NPP region or a region that the MPP is strong in. Or as we saw things play out as well in the central region. Look at the number of seats that they lost in the Western region in the 2024 election. But he makes the strong case that it will take more than one election cycle to conclude that the New Patriotic Party has lost its hold in some of the regions that we saw them perform abysmally in 2024. And this is his contention. Let's get a bit more detail into the analysis that Musa Dankwa put out, specifically to these Akan regions and take into consideration the outcome of the 2024 elections. And this was his justification on what we are just seeing right now. Take a look.
One election cycle to conclude that it's no longer a stronghold, but tend to something else. But what we have known in recent time is that MPP is normally guaranteed Greater Ashanti region and Eastern region. Those are guaranteed. But what we are seeing now is that the Eastern region appears to be looking very, very tight indeed. And indeed, if you look at the current polls we have from Eastern region with regards to the approval of the president and the direction of the country, is kind of tilting away from MPP. But that's early days. These are traditional areas where MPP does well. These are Akan regions where their base is normally at. So traditionally, they should be doing well in these regions. Even if they don't win it, they will still be a force to reckon with.
To reckon with, but how about the swing regions? Musa Dankwa did something in the swing regions as well for this month of July, ahead of the Congress today. And this is it. We'll put that on the screen right now. In the swing regions, that is the central region, Greater Accra, looking at the western region as well. Well, there are many who contest that the western region has lost its swing region status, and there's strong argument to back that particular position. But if you look at this, based on the outcome of Musa Danquah's poll in the swing regions, and bear in mind, this is just 6 months after this election, 46.87%, that's 943 respondents in these swing regions, still said that if elections were held in July, they would prefer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as against 36.28 Kennedy Ohenye Japan, 7.65%, that's 154 of the nominal respondents, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. But the swing regions, the NPP lost in the swing regions, as we're seeing it, in 2024. So why is it that the person who led the party into this historic defeat is still the one that the respondents say that if elections were held in July, they would prefer that he, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, leads the party going into the elections? So what is the justification for this? Was there any further engagement to find out what exactly is in the minds of the people? That beyond the outcome of 2024 elections, even in the swing regions, they will still prefer this man? And let's look at the likes of Patrick Boaba, whom Musa Danquah threw in there. And then Brian Echampong, Kwabena Japan. At least we've seen his posters now and a campaign office. So we have an idea that he's going to contest. But this is the outcome. And Musa Danquah gave some detail as to why, even in the swing regions, you still have Dr. Bawumia doing that much. Let's take a look at this.
You know, general election outcomes is different from the primaries outcome. And in the primaries, there are people who are voting for you for a number of reasons. So we shouldn't read too much meaning into that, but it gives you a bit of a feel, a flavor of what people are thinking. Now, if you look at the swing regions, you can see that it is much closer compared to the other part of the country. And the swing regions, we're talking about Greater Accra, Central and Western regions. Now, it simply reflects what we saw in the last election, that Greater Accra, Western and Central will be closely fought by these candidates. And at the moment, Bawumia has 10 points lead, or nearly 11 points lead in this region. And what you are seeing really is also the fact that all the other candidates who are from the same kind of demography are competing for the same vote. And that is probably what is giving Bawumia that kind of a lead in these regions. We don't know who would continue, whether they will form an alliance or they will fizzle out along the line. If they don't, then it will be very interesting to see how these numbers pan out when the campaign enters into a full mode. I don't know that they may have a solution to the problem they encountered or they faced in the last election in terms of demography. If they have a way to counter that demographic issue, then, well, the future is really uncertain. But, I mean, look, it's going to be a very tough race for MPP. 2028, you have to battle it out. And they believe that, and remember, this is not the delegate, this is ordinary voters. So delegate may have a different view. I don't think we should confuse this poll among general voters and the delegates. We haven't done that of the delegates yet, but this is just a public view. And if the view of the public were to be written by, then I suspect that the delegate may want to look at the views of the public.
Well, that's Musa Danquah, is Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. We had this conversation earlier with him on the outcome of the polls in the Akan regions, the swing regions as well, that he polled in the month of July. But yesterday, we put a 24-hour poll on our social media. And for those of you who pay attention to the TV3 Ghana, X, and Facebook pages, we put this poll there. And it's very interesting. 27,198 of you responded to this poll. Who is your preferred leader for MPP ahead of 2028? This month of July, this was the outcome. 24.8 out of the 27,198, 24.8% say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and guess what? 39.4% say Kennedy Ejapong. Brian Echampong follows with about 24%, and Dr. Yawase Duchum, 11.7%. That is what we found out on our poll tracker on social media. For 24 hours, we put this out. And if you look at the outcome, 27,198 of you responded to this. And out of that, in percentage terms, 24.8% of you, the respondents, said Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is your preferred leader for the MPP. And Kennedy Ejapong followed with the highest of 39.4%, Brian Echampong 24%, and Dr. Yawase Duchum. And we did the same for the NDC as well. You see, Johnson Esiudu Nketia, the national chairman of the party, 18.9. Harun Idrisu, the education minister, Tamale South member of parliament, 44.7. Dr. Kasiel Atofo Singh, the finance minister, 23.3. And last week you heard Mr. Dankwa explain that he is only having this kind of endorsement because of the current state of the economy. Julius Debra, the chief of staff, 13%. And let me just put it on record that none of these persons have come out to openly, publicly, and officially state that they are going to contest the flag bearership of the NDC. But we're just testing the pulse of the people of the NDC. But we're just testing the pulse of the people of the pointers that have already come out or been put out. But these people, none of them or their assigns, agents, or persons associated with them have come out to state that they are contesting or they intend to contest the flag bearership of the NDC. Let's have a conversation briefly on this. And joining me quickly in the studio is a private legal practitioner. He's also a member of the Operation Recover All Load preparatory team. They've wrapped up their work and submitted their report to the president, which has been actioned by the Attorney General. Martin Kwebu, good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Morning, Mr. Ocansey. Excuse me. It's good to be here once again on Ghana's #1 talk show. Indeed. Right? Undisputed. Indeed. We've been running, right? We've cleared all the billboards, right? Topped all the charts. And of course, it's down to the good work of the people of Ghana. They've seen that this is their platform, right? I remember when people were censoring, people didn't want us to say all the bad things Akufo-Addo was doing, right? But here, at least, we could say it well. And of course, people listened and then they made the right choices. And of course, just to bring just one statement, and you will see, the case against Mustafa Hamid reinforces what we were doing here.
We're going to go into it, so you don't have to... Yes.
It's just to show that that was the right thing we're doing. We could see the corruption all over, but every time they were like, where is the evidence? Show us the evidence. We'll come back into it, right? So, good people of Ghana, good morning. And thanks once again for making the right decision. Can you imagine if we hadn't booted out this corrupt bunch? Can you imagine where we would be by now? Thank you once again. Okay. Once again, of course, let's thank Sofa Ekufu Yasantua for speaking up. Sofa Ekufu is a relation to Akufo-Addo and was Chief Justice. But afterwards, she made it clear that, look, even though I've been made Chief Justice thanks to my relation Akufo-Addo, it doesn't mean that if Akufo-Addo is misgoverning, I should keep quiet. And so she spoke and spoke and spoke. And that's what we should continue to repeat to encourage Ghanaians to stand up for the truth. Don't always look at your stomach. This stomach direction politics will kill us. Let's stand up for the truth for once, right? And then, of course, I see Adeyo Ajiman Bedu, the second Domahini. Hey, Domahini and a number of other judges have been promoted to the Court of Appeal. They've suffered. You know, Domahini granted Oliver bail, and afterwards his troubles increased and increased. So Domahini, that's God restoring you. So the reset agenda is on. Yes, that's a reset. You remember last week the police service restored Agojo and Co. Right?
Yes.
Then this week is Domahini, and also Justice Buedi. Oh, fine, Justice Buedi now in Denu High Court, also promoted. Right? Yes, Justice Buedi was the one who granted Afoko bail, and he too, it brought him a lot of headache. I mean, this kind of things, we hope that's the last time that this type of things should happen. Okay. It's a free society. Free society. Let's stop using our prejudices to gag judges, etc. Right. It's a free society. And of course, Toby Afede, we all know how Toby also stood tall. Yes, Toby Afede, good morning. We hope that you continue to speak truth to power, because that is what we lack most. Oh, and one of our ardent fans, I met him only once, Malik Mahama. Yes, but I'm hearing something otherwise. I just met him about 3 weeks ago, and he said that, look, this particular thing about so for Ekufu, the fact that I keep repeating that the fact that your relation is in power doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak up. He said that is what touched him the most, Malik Mahama, but I'm hearing something otherwise. But we'll wait maybe at the appropriate time.
Yes. So the official communication from the family.
Yes.
To that effect.
Yes.
And I agree perfectly with you on that.
Yes. Malik Mahama.
Yes.
I mean, God knows best. Okay.
Indeed. Let me also acknowledge the presence of Kwame Jantua. He is a private legal practitioner. He's an energy analyst. And then also, I wouldn't be wrong to say he's still a leading member of the CPP, Convention People's Party.
Alfred, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to our viewers.
You are still a member of the CPP?
Where else will I go? I keep telling you, I'm genetically CPP.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Just for confirmation.
There's no confirmation. CPP.
It's very important.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. And he's one person that I know he stayed true to the CPP, to the cockerel, and no other symbol. Thank you. And then also let me acknowledge the presence of Dr. Joshua Zato. He is a political analyst, a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, Legon.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Good morning to our listeners and good morning to my co-panelists.
Yes.
Yes. If I want, I can just have to say something.
That's a brief one.
Just a brief one.
Yes.
But they should have added that you are former Sisala Depot aspirant.
So that one is not down.
Add that one.
Okay.
Aspirant.
Okay.
Do you still delude yourself that you're not an ADC member? Do you still do that?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you still delude yourself that you're not part of the ADC?
All right.
Come on, Martin.
Okay, great.
Take away the glass. You are ADC. Just embrace it.
Thank you very much.
Just embrace it and go out. Don't do that. That's where you are now.
Thank you.
Say you found a new home and you're happy with it.
Thank you very much.
Your new home. Say that. Nobody thinks that you are neutral objective here. No, you are ADC. Accept it.
Thank you very much.
Good morning to all your listeners and thank you very much for this morning. I'm glad to be here. Indeed. And I thank you for tuning in to this program. Just something very simple. Earlier this year, when the Doomsday levy was passed, we were assured and promised that with the passage of that Doomsday bill, we will not see any increase in the prices of fuel at the pumps. We were promised that there will be no increase.
Who made that promise?
Oh, the Minister of Energy made that promise in Parliament, and His Excellency the President has been reported. I saw a news item that there will be no increase. I don't know whether it was wrongly reported, but there was a news item that says that there will be no increase, and that the minister also said, a city newsroom said that GS1 fuel levy hike won't affect pump prices. It's city newsroom.
Okay, because conversations we've had subsequent, there was that indication that in fact now what we are seeking clarity on is why the prices have gone up beyond the over 1 CD at some fuel stations. Okay. So, but then yes,
so it went up, and that's good. And I know that Ghanaians are suffering, especially I always say this at the food production areas where people are now going up to farm, people are now going to plow, and we are having this problem with it. The second issue I want to talk about is that this we have with we have with Galamsey. I mean, I know that we are going to talk about Galamsey, but really, what I've heard, and we've heard from Dr. Tun Edu about his take on Galamsey and all that. So I think that once we come to talk about it, but we need to do it. It's an existential crisis, and we need to treat it as such.
And
thank you.
That's it. Great. And I thank you very much. Also, I received a number of messages, petitions, if I should put it. My producer as well. Hundreds of you reached us over the last 3 weeks or so, asking that there's a particular person that you have in mind to also join the conversation on the key point. And because you have a say in what we say on this platform, we listened. And he is here this morning as a social policy analyst and a leading member of the Movement for Change. I'm talking about none other than Solomon Owusu. Owusu, good morning.
Morning, Alfredo.
How are you?
Doing very well this morning, by His grace.
You have a lot of people expecting you this morning when we put out that you are coming.
I'm grateful to all of them for their well wishes and those who don't even wish as well. We greet all of them and believe that we'll have a very big, useful conversation this morning.
Indeed, we will be having a very, very interesting and useful conversation. And thank you for coming. And now, very quick one on what I just showed to you, the outcome of the Akan regions poll. Just brief comments on this by Musa Dankwa. Last week we did the headline which showed a particular direction, not too much of a difference from what happened in the Akan regions. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia still fresh in the minds of people 6 months on, even though the NPP didn't do well in these Akan regions, Bono East, Western North. You still have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who led the party into that election as his flag bearer, still leading in terms of those who responded to who they would prefer to lead the party going into the 2028 elections. And it's early days yet, but this also paints a certain picture. I want to find out from you, start off with you, Dr. Zato. Just a quick one on this, quick one. Take into consideration that the party has a crucial exercise later today on whether or not to hold the flag bearer elections on the 31st of January.
Thank you very much. If you look at the research from Musa Dankwa Global Finance, it's not different from a similar policy that we did at Africa Policy Lens and we released. In fact, the results were almost like mirror images of each other. And they all point to the same thing, that the leading candidate for the NPP right now is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It also brings something that even NPP, members of the NPP and still delegates are not blaming. That was a question you were asking Musa Dankwa. They are not blaming Bawumia for the defeat. NPP members. That's why overwhelmingly they all support him. So when I saw it, I thought it was a new poll, but only for you to say that it's a July 4th. So
the July one.
Yeah, it tells us what we've done. And even this one that you've put here, this one you've put again.
This is we measured the sentiments of people on social media.
Yeah. I'm saying it's the same. In fact, the one two you did, you posted 2 of them. They're all similar with the research that is carrying on. So I think what we need is maybe a new research, a new poll. After all this, then we can see what a bit coming into today. Almost all the polls seems to have settled. If you take the average of all the credible polls that have come out, they all seem to be telling the same story. There's no big deviation from them.
Let me then, before you come in, acknowledge the presence of the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications. He is the Member of Parliament for the Abrasebo Kwamankasi people, that's constituency. Honorable Felix Kwachofo. So good morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
Let me just comment on a point that my good friend, Dr. Zato made.
Just a brief one.
He said Ghanaians are suffering with this 1 cedi tax. So he agrees that during their time, Ghanaians were suffering when it was more than 1 cedi. He agrees. It was exorbitant and killing. In this 1 cedi, we are suffering. So then he supported that the price was okay because we needed it. Now, we're talking about the NPP elections. For me, they should just, it is For me, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it?
No.
What do you
All
mean?
the others are going to waste their money.
You say all the others? When?
All the others from, what do you call it, KDJ Japon. Because Dr. Baumia is going to win this particular election.
How? Why do you say that so confidently?
Watch it.
Then they will lose the 2028 election again.
Look at all the polls.
What are you saying?
Dr. Zato is saying that we need a fresh poll. Fresh poll from where? He's the most marketed person in the MPP today. The only challenge there is that the scepter of Akufo-Addo will not hunt him. That's the only thing that is there. But he will win. So they should all come together and say, you are the most marketed person. So let's all support you. And let's go. Because the MPP at this point needs to build unity in their party. They need to build unity in their party. They need to build confidence with the people that what happened in the last 8 years will not be repeated. And it is no small feat to be able to show that.
All right.
I believe that they should unite. They should agree that coming 2028, and let me tell you something. If President Mahama is able to keep his promise and go according to the vision and get Ghana to a certain stage of his plans for the country, let's say even 50%, and Ghanaians are satisfied, you can put a goat there in the next election, the goat will win. Typical example is 79.
I see.
79. Who knew Liman? Nobody. But the party was strong. The CPP party was strong then. And they were able to market themselves. And they brought Liman. Did Liman not win?
He did.
Did we know where Liman came from?
No.
So they should learn from history and do the right thing. So far as I'm concerned, this particular contest, they should have a contest. It will win hands down. So there's no need. Rather, build your strength with the people. Market him more with the people. And hopefully, you could win 2028. But so far as I'm seeing it at this point, as I sit, if they bring any other new person, it's not going to be easy for them. Thank you.
I see. Well, you're quite clear on your position on why you have that conviction that this is the way to go. Council, just a quick one on this.
Quick one. Yes. So I differ a little bit from senior council. Senior council is more experienced, but we also looking at the trends from 92, etc. I can say without any equivocation that look, 2028. Certainly doesn't belong to the MPP.
Why do you say that?
Oh, look, about 1.6 million votes. You can't wipe that out in one electoral cycle unless the NDC misbehave extremely, which doesn't look like. You see, now our society is stronger. You see, those days, Felix Fosukwachi is here. Those days, minister, they were like 10 gods, etc. But today, Felix, you see, he sits here ordinary, no airs around him, etc. Because he's realized that the guy, and he repeats it on air, that he's here because we gave him a mandate, etc. So now you have public, the political appointees showing more respect, being more accountable, etc. So considering what we went through with the MPP, I shudder to think that NDC can dare do a quarter of that. So 2028 is no brainer that look, NDC will keep it. The real battle is 2032. That's why I think, look, the first three, Baumia, Kennedy Japan, Educhum, should be taken off rather than down. Look, this 2032 belongs to people of the like of Patrick Boama.
Let's put that on the screen and flip up.
Boama is what we should be looking at for 2032. Take the younger folk, because I'm telling you, look, Mr. Ocansey, 2028 is the last time we are going to allow somebody above 63 to contest. If you look at the NDC cohort, those likely to make it, whether it's Esedun Ketia or Julius Debra, that's the last bit. 2032, we are not going to allow somebody older than 63. Okay. It belongs to the youth.
I see.
2032 belongs to the youth. So by then, Baumia will be too old. Because even in 2029, I think Baumia is going to be around, right now it's about 63, right? So long story short, by 2032, around 69 thereabout. please, there is no chance for a 69-year-old. He'll be too old. Okay. There will be no chance. Now, we have to be very clear. Enough of the old people above 65, enough of them. 2032.
Right.
Oh, no. Enough of the experience. When JJ took over, how old was he? 2032, anybody older than 63 won't be in that game. Forget it.
All right.
Anybody older than 63 in 2032 won't be in that game. So they should look forward to the likes of Wama. You see, some have mentioned upon Nkrumah, but because of Kufuor's abysmal performance, and Achimman is not sexy at this time. Maybe in 8 years we can forget a look at upon Nkrumah, but for now it's Buama. Okay. Buama has my
he has your vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So if the MPP puts up Patrick Buama, you will vote for the
2030. He stands a chance. We will see, but then they will compare the performance of the NDC.
All right.
And also in 2032, that's the time the third force by then would have gathered enough strength, and then we'll make a push. 2032 is likely third force will take over because we'll not allow this NDC MPP turn to continue. We've had enough of them. Let's see how it turns out in 2032.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Zato, I don't know, just a quick one. Whether from where you say, because you say you've done some poll by yourself, the institute you belong to. Does it point to the fact that the MPP stands a better chance with another candidate or with a different face than the face you went to 2024 with, that you lost by 1.6 million and over votes, or you stand a better chance going into 2028 with the same face?
No, the questions we asked at the poll are similar to the same as Musa Danko asked. We spoke to MPP members, we spoke to MPP voters. If the elections were for the party that was held today, whom will you vote for?
Right.
And that was the overwhelming choice.
That's Dr. Bawumia.
Yes, Dr. Bawumia was the overwhelming choice. So that is it. And in fact, if you also look at, I'm just trying to highlight the fact that both polls were similar in the approach, in the tactics they used, and what they came out with the results. Okay. So that was what we asked.
I see. Great. Thank you. And let's Solo. And for you, I've heard you make a comment about this entire conversation. You think there's room for another John?
Yes,
Why?
yes. I mean, Ghana has been doing the John business, from Jerry John Rawlings to John Ajay Kunkufo to John Evans Atta-Mills. Then we made a mistake and brought Nana Akufo-Addo. It took us nowhere. We had to revert back to John Mahama. And so the last John missing in the equation still remains John Alan Chamantin. And the Ghanaian definitely will settle on him in 2028. And this is where I totally disagree with Councillor Martin Haywood that in 2032 we have to settle on a relatively younger person.
How old will Alan be?
I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. And by the time I'm done, you would understand that you have to revise your notes. Because the point really is that you have younger ones, 54 years, allegedly stealing from us. The cases that are in court, how old are they? You take the NPA. Someone that came to tell, Wallahi, how old is he? You take Kwabena Dubois, who's in court facing prosecution, how old is he? You take the national service issue, and by the way, the Attorney General has to be reminded that he promised July that they will go to court. So if you are going to look at it from this angle, and most of these people who are alleged to have taken a dip into our coffers and their age brackets, and you still want to go ahead with that assumption that has to be a young person, then you must have to reconsider your decision. That the elderly is stealing and the young ones are also stealing, allegedly. So we have to go for experience.
Oh, no.
So that one is debatable. But, you know, Alfred.
Yes.
Looking at these figures, I mean, it should be a source of worry to the MPP. Because if you are talking about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leading by 52.25, you know, the last time...
This is in the Akan regions. This is not a national picture.
Yeah, that's I'm coming there.
We drill down the data to the Akan region, yes.
Yeah, so even the Akan region, remember the MPP hitherto has been getting this majority of his vote from the Akan region. So that is what even makes it very, very important. Yes. That we use the Akan regions to, as it were, predict the likely outcome of the election 2028. In the Akan region, in the last elections, last polls or last elections, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was doing around 67 to 68%.
Right.
And even with that, he ended up at the national polls in the region of 41.75%. So if we're going to do proportionate allocation, if 64 to 68 was leading to 41%, then with this 59%, he's doing around 38% in the national polls. And for me, that brings back to the mantra in town that he got 38. I don't know whether the associates who are looking into this crystal ball to see that he will likely end up in 38. Honestly, none of them fascinate me. Honestly, the Ghanaian will not settle on any of these because
I see
the reasons for which the MPP was booted out still are relevant.
Okay.
How are you going to go back to the Ghanaian and convince them that you would deal with issues of corruption when you go and sit on the floor whilst people who are accused of being corrupt are being handled by state institutions?
Right.
How are you going to deal with issues of galamsey?
Thank you. Now, Council, you mentioned briefly about the NDC. For you, in your mind, it's a done deal because of some factors you reference. But then you also put a conditional clause of if the economy remains on the steady trajectory of improvement, as we have seen. And then also critical is the transition as well. If it's chaotic, that would also influence how things play out in 2028. And that's why I bring in Mr. Kwachofo. So is it a sense of awareness that you have as a party or as a government? Yes, it's early days yet, but then again, you've seen what your opponents are doing. They're going to Congress today to speed up the process of getting a very contentious decision off the hook by electing their flag bearer early, January 31. That leaves you as well with a lot of thinking to do as to how to strategize to respond to that. Now, are you well aware of the dangers of, for instance, ensuring that the bread and butter matters, the state of the economy, and then the transition from John Mahama to whoever would also have a direct impact on whether or not you win 2028? Just a quick one.
Mr. Alfred, the MPP is tickling itself and laughing.
Why do you say that?
You see, all the processes they are undergoing, they are routine. They are normal for every political party. When you lose sometimes, you do these things. But I can assure you that none of that is relevant to the decision-making process for Ghanaians when they go to the polls.
You think so?
I'm not one who takes delight in the current shambles that the MPP finds itself in. I'm sure that over time they will recover. It is nothing new, nothing unusual, nothing earth-shattering. So I don't bank my hopes on that. I have always said, and I'll repeat it here, Alfred, in Ghana, every election is a referendum on the incumbent. The only way the electorate will look at the alternative is when they deem the incumbent not to have performed. Every single change in government that we've had, even if you consider the military adventurers who came in, was premised on economic sentiments. That and that alone.
Right.
It is the poor performance in economic management that highlights all the other issues. So for us, corruption is an important consideration for voters.
Indeed.
But it becomes topical when they see that their living conditions are deteriorating. Then they just oppose it against the living conditions of those who they deem to be responsible for the deterioration in their economic conditions. So all that Ghanaians will do when they go to the polls is to look at the performance of the government. They will tick the boxes. They have their own checklists. Issues about their welfare, issues about their economic well-being, whether the cost of living is variable now than before, whether there is genuine commitment to improving that welfare, and what investments are being made to enhance that welfare. They will look at this. If it is satisfactory, they won't bother looking at the alternative. It doesn't matter who you put on the ballot. So then they will consider what you've done before. And the MPP, without a shadow of doubt, far and away, has been the worst government we've had in our entire history. What they did between 2017 and 2024 is unprecedented. They were atrocious. They were abysmal, shambolic, horrible. And all the economic indicators show it. Alfred, since you came of age, have you ever heard any Ghanaian government that has declared bankruptcy and said that they are unable to pay the public debt? Any economy that goes to that extent gives you an indication of how poor the government is. We woke up one day and this government told the people of Ghana that we were so broke we could simply not pay our debts. So they implemented a horrific policy called the domestic debt exchange. And that was only a euphemism for haircuts. 1.3 million bondholders were told that they could go hang and that the monies they had lent to government would not be paid. The reason for that is that the little resources that came into the hands of the government were completely misused and abused. They drove us into debt, and the cost of living went up to unprecedented levels. By the end of 2022, we were looking at 54% inflation. And you know what that means? That means
Let's round up on this one.
I'm going to do so. I'm going to do so. That simply meant that if you pick 2022, the same time compared to the previous year, the price of goods and services had gone up by an average of 54%. Never happened in our history. Look at what became of our currency. It became the most useless currency on the face of this earth. Rating agencies said our economy was junk. Baller, in real. Now you compare it to what we have now. It's been early days yet, and indeed, next week Thursday, the finance minister will go to Parliament to present a mid-year review of the budget, and you will see the remarkable turnaround that people that has happened. The cost of living, even though we are not out of the woods yet, is much better now than it was before. Look at the price of fuel. Even with the increase in ESLA, you see that it is cheaper than it was when the MPP was leaving power. So the electorate considers all of this. So all the internal processes that parties go through, the jostling for the leadership of the parties, constitutional amendments, what have you, are completely irrelevant to the decision-making of voters. So it is necessary for parties to consider those matters. You see, what internal voters within a party think is entirely different from what the general population thinks when it comes to elections. When you lose elections, it is natural that you will have sympathy within. People will say that, oh, you've spent money, you've gone around, you did your bets, you've lost. So why waste time, especially if you've been marketed a bit? Right. Why waste time going for a new candidate when you can just present the old candidate? Yes. But ultimately, when you present that candidate and he has a record, like Baumia has, shambolic, abysmal mismanagement of the economy, after which he sought to run away. You see, that even angered voters more than the mismanagement itself. Okay. Give me 1 minute.
I need to.
Give me one, but you've given your guess 1 minute. 1 minute. I'll land.
They did the minutes as you.
I'll land. You see, in one breath, they said that Baumia was responsible for everything the MPP did, 33 policies. Not so. In that breath, they said that he knew nothing about anything happening in government, and anything happening in government knew nothing about him. That angered Ghanaians more than even the mismanagement. So, in a nutshell, I would say that they should go through the processes. But trust me, when they come to the post in 2028, the people will assess them on the basis of their living conditions. Vis-a-vis what they experience under them.
Exactly, and that's really what the point is all about. The state of the economy, the bread and butter issues will never change.
Absolutely.
It will still be the major determinant.
It has been at the heart of all electoral defeat for incumbents
that elections, that electorates or people will take at the polls. But that's just to give you a sneak preview of our conversation this morning on what the MPP is going to be doing later today at the University of Ghana, seeking to amend their constitution, speed up the process of electing their flag bearer so that they can deal with other matters going into 2028. This week, the Attorney General, and Dr. Zato, because you mentioned the Galamsey, the Attorney General this week issued a notice. In fact, it was a letter to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, boss on investigations into some information on persons who are involved in Galamsey, allegedly. Now, this is what the Attorney General put out, and we're going to put portions of it on the screen. The most essential part of that notice read that as your office is aware, and he was referencing the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, His Excellency the President has consistently reiterated his government's firm commitment to eradicating illegal mining and restoring sanity to the natural resource governance regime in Ghana. He continues that based on this, with the national stance, and this week as well, the president declaring Galamsey a national emergency and ordering the arrest of rogue task forces in pursuant to the mandate under the Ioko Act 2010. He, the Attorney General, is directing Ioko to invite the following persons named in the recent credible reports for interrogation. Yakubu Abanga, who is a third vice chair of the NDC, the third national vice chairman of the NDC, and Joseph Yamin, who is the national organizer of the ruling NDC. The scope of this investigation, according to the Attorney General, should include the matters highlighted in Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng's report on illegal mining. That is the next layer of the conversation in terms of the investigation that the Attorney General wants Ioko to conduct into matters of illegal mining. We'll get into the Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng report, the highlights of it, and some of the persons mentioned in there, and why this is of interest to the Attorney General. And this is why I bring in lawyer Kwame Jantua, because you, together with others who have also been pushing as the coalition in the fight against illegal mining and all the concerns that have come up, and this development from the Attorney General, and these two persons that were named in that statement within the week. How does it strike you?
I think where Galamsey is concerned, anybody who is involved in Galamsey should be taken on and should be prosecuted, irrespective of party colors. One thing that I find difficult is that we've been going through this Galamsey thing for quite some time. It's getting worse, but we haven't been able to arrest any financier of Galamsey. The excavators, that's what they call those machines, keep going to Galamsey sites. How does it get there? How does it get into the country? Who are the ones financing it? The Speaker of the House, did he not say that, told parliamentarians that there are people in here, in this house, who know who are doing Galamsey, and some of them are doing it? Why aren't you exposing those names? And not until we start looking at those who are financing it, it will continuously go on. For me, I feel, and I keep saying it, and I'll continue saying it, we've got to a point where we should take the bull by the horns, and have an order of shoot to kill.
Shoot to kill?
Yes.
But
the Galamsey, hey, please. Please.
No. Please. I want to understand. Why do you think? Why do you, that position has been contested? Yeah.
Today, don't Galamseyers have guns?
They do.
Are they not in combat with security people there? Do they not kill? Do they not have guns that are more powerful than what we have in our armies, in our police? And what are you seeing? You're seeing others who cause mayhem in the sub-region coming down into Ghana to do Galamsey to make money. And we are sitting there saying what? Joking with what? Playing with what? Apart from that, the Galamsey that they are doing, is it not killing us? Our water bodies, where are they today? The fish in our water bodies, when we are able to even fish them, are they not contaminated? Are we not seeing children being born who are malfunctioning? Their body parts are everywhere. So what are we talking about? That we are sitting there doing what? Just because we want to follow the law. Kill a small portion of them, and it will stop. But most importantly, those politicians who are in Galamsey, those other people who finance Galamsey, they should all be brought to book, because up until now, I don't think anybody on this table can tell me that they have arrested the financier. Alfred, can you tell me?
Well, that question should be...
Do you know any financier who has been arrested? It is still going on, and it is getting worse. We need to do something out of the ordinary to be able to stop this thing, because gradually it will destroy our country. Gradually it will destroy. I don't understand how God gives you such resources, and rather the resources are spoiling your country. I don't understand it. And others can come in and do anything they want to do. Those people who give Chinese and other people visas to come in, when they bring the applications in, do they really, our embassies abroad, do they really interrogate what they are coming to do? Because most of them who have the intention of coming to do Galamsey, the moment they hit Ghana airport and are out of the country, they go straight to the Galamsey fields. And they will tell you, some of our people are part and parcel of it. Yes, some of our people are part and parcel of the slave trade, but it doesn't mean it is right. I think what should happen, we should ban all small-scale mining for now.
Ban all forms of small-scale mining
for
legal,
now.
both
yes,
legal.
Ban all. And
but
then, then put it in a much better structure. And for me, people will not stop mining gold. So put it in a form of cooperatives. But it has to be done. We have to be able to clear all the miscreants, because those who have small-scale mining licenses, they do Galamsey, don't they? They do Galamsey.
Well, but
it's not a question. It's not a question of. I'm not saying all of them. A certain percentage would, but a huge percentage do Galamsey.
But what I wanted to draw your attention to is that this proposal you're making is not new. Essentially, we've gone on this path before, the path of banning all forms of small-scale mining for almost 2 years.
Commitment.
What did that change?
Commitment.
Because within that period of the ban, we saw an improvement in our water bodies and so on. We saw that.
Commitment.
What sort of commitment?
Government needs to be committed. The people of Ghana need to be committed that they want this thing stopped. Full stop.
And you think there's not much commitment?
Well, isn't it going on? It's going on. President Mahama is trying to put structures in place. But those structures, they are not easy. They are not easy for people who are intended to do it to take hold. And he needs the people of Ghana to follow him. We, the people of Ghana, need to make sure that this thing, if this thing is going to stop, it depends on us. Government can put all the policies they want to put in place. If the people don't want to follow the policies, forget it, it won't stop. So you need to use some force, some little force, to show them that there are laws in this country, and there are certain things you can't do. And if people are doing it, we've got to bring them to book. And for me, that is my, antidote to it. At least, small. Let people say that you can shake yourself small. That if you try, you go in for it. Shake yourself small. Because so far, all the things we've done, the shaking isn't shaking.
You mean
still going on.
We're not sending fear?
The people don't fear.
As a deterrent to these people?
Look, they go into forest reserves. They do it, we take them out. Next day, they are back in there. Kill a few of them, and you see what will happen. Their grandmother
that's too radical? Too radical?
What's radical? Are they not killing us? Are water bodies not, polluted? And Ghana Water, what did they tell us? They need extra money to do what? To distill the waters. To drinking water, which is life. 3 things that are life: water, air, and energy. These 3 things. We can't do that. And if somebody, because of their own interest, wants to kill all of us, and we are sitting there saying what? Because they are laws. Kill small. And then they will see. When they are going, their mother will say, and go, so who says, you could kwabna enra. Kwabna okoye bonitio, pachomunjai. Then gradually, we can bring some sanity. But in bringing some sanity, let's structure small-scale mining properly. We've done it in the agricultural sector, where cooperatives have been brought together and they are trying as much as possible to work. We won't stop mining gold. The entire length and breadth of Ghana is covered in gold. So we won't stop it. But let's structure it properly so that this particular menace stops.
Well, but the cooperatives proposal as well was captured in your manifesto, right? The NDC.
Yeah.
So you say you're going to do the cooperatives that Mr. Jantwa is talking about. I'll find out from you later how the process has been in forming those cooperatives, because we went on the path of a community mining schemes, which many who have done some work in there have shown detail. And I have one of the reports here indicating that the community mining scheme did not really work in terms of the fight against illegal mining. Arocha Ghana and the Society Platform on the Extractives did this particular report indicating that it rather sort of legitimized illegal mining with this community mining scheme that we saw introduced after the period of the ban on any form of small-scale mining. So what should be the path? Lawyer, this is why, Martin Pebu, I saw you shake your head in disagreement when Lawyer Kwame Jantua was proposing the shoot to kill, which is not new. I've had people make that proposal to send a certain signal of fear and deterrence to these people who are involved in illegal mining. Is that the way to go? And if it is, why should we adopt that? And if it is not the way to go, how then do we fight this existential threat that we're faced with?
Oh, good. Okay, it's not the way to go, because if we were to shoot people to kill, to deter others, we'll be turning the Constitution on its head. Let's go to Article 13 of our Constitution, right at the heart of the fundamental human rights. It says, 13:1, no person shall be deprived of his life intentionally, except in the exercise of the execution of a sentence of a court in respect of a criminal offense under the laws of Ghana, of which he has been convicted. Of which he has been convicted. Okay, right. Yeah, so that is the Constitution we have. You know, right. I understand senior counsel. I know he doesn't mean it literally in a certain sense, but you know, once you've said it, we also have to code the Constitution so that for those who take it literally that people should be shot, they will see that no, the Constitution doesn't allow it. You see, this galamsey thing, I think that, look, we have the police force, right? The police service. They are the people to do it, and of course, with the support of citizens. So we have to continue. The fact that we failed in the past doesn't mean we shouldn't continue. In our personal lives, we embark on projects, activities, examinations, schools. Sometimes we fail, but we get up and then continue, right? So that's how come when people say, no, bring soldiers, I'm like, no. Article 210 of our Constitution says that the soldiers are to protect us against external aggression. Don't keep bringing them into internal affairs, right? Let the police do it. When IGO came,
with the police
hasn't he changed? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
With the police doing it, does it measure the results as against when we also saw the military partially involved in this fight against illegal mining? The likes of Dr. Nyao Nyao Tamaklo are clear in their minds. The military can end this galamsey in 1 week if you give them the charge to do this.
I can also say unequivocally that it's not possible. 1 week. Look, the problem is more complex than 1 week. No, it's more complex. See, let's hasten slowly. So far, there have been 2 occasions that the military went there. The military went and joined the galamseys and were taking bribes. Haven't you checked? Look, pull the tapes, Abdallah. The military went and joined the galamseys and took bribes. There are footages. Even the last one about 3 or 4 weeks ago, another group of military and national security operatives. You see, we've not heard the final thing. But Erasmus Asoredonko was clear that those were military. Then whilst Kufuor was in office, about 35 military personnel were on the galamsey side, giving galamseyers full protection, full succor, please. Listen, let's stop the way we are denigrating our police by saying military. Military are not fashioned for that job. In any event, there are 2 clear cases that they also came in and took bribes, joined in the galamsey itself, right? So it's not about military. It's about how we equip the police. Article 200 of our Constitution says that the police service shall be equipped. So ask yourself, how have we equipped the police? Equipped. It just didn't say they should maintain law and order. Our framers were very wise. I'm sure they knew that we've been bastardizing the police institution for too long. So they added it. They just didn't say maintain law and order. They said equip them So ask yourself, number one, what's the number of our police service? I mean, the last time I knew, there are no more than 60,000. The UN standard is that we should have 1 policeman to 500 citizens. I don't think we've met that criteria.
No.
So look at Article 200. It says, the police service shall be equipped and maintained to perform its traditional role of maintaining law and order. So they put a rider there that equip and maintain them. So if you don't equip and maintain, what do you get? Last week we talked about body cameras, right? Today we are talking about the numbers. The numbers are not the best. Of course, we know that in recent past, in the Kufuor's term, yeah, he did well. They kept increasing the numbers, but I'm not sure we are quite there yet, right? So equipping and maintaining the police is very important. And then you heard what Mutaka said earlier this week, that they are setting up the Independent Police Commission. It's also very, very important because we need to hold the police accountable. Very, very important. Yes, people are angry because, of course, we know that from decades of the way a lot of the time the police haven't, given us enough accountability and the rest. But we are improving. You see, look, I can tell you yesterday like this. Can you imagine, regional commander, I won't mention which region, but he did well. Around 10 p.m., I was informed that somebody had been kept in custody beyond 48 hours. So I said, no, give me the commander's number. I called, he couldn't pick up. Then I sent him a WhatsApp. I said, look, commander, I've been informed somebody is in custody more than 48 hours. That is not law. He responded back and forth. That's a regional commander. Some years ago, who born dog? 10 p.m., you are calling a regional commander. He will not respond.
Right.
But this is what he did. I said, no, the Constitution says 48 is 48. We went back and forth. But he engaged me civilly. Some years ago, a regional commander, 10 p.m. in the night. No, you say I was asleep.
So if that's not the way to go, what should be done?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Equip and maintain the police service for the function. It's a rider. We have not equipped our police service enough. We've not maintained them enough. You see, so so equipment, obviously, body cameras, right, training, etc. You know they have their SWAT team. Sometimes people like the show of force. I mean, see how the police SWAT team looks like. Yes, they also have their muscular, etc. Is that not it? So in terms of the optics, they also fit the billing. So you equip and then you maintain. And most especially, it's accountability. The bottom line of everything we are saying is accountability. So how do we structure the police service in such a way that they are accountable to us? So if we send them to the Galamsey side, how many journalists do we embed in the police team to make sure that the journalists are reporting so that the police then don't get corrupted? You know, IG Yonu came and then they did some transfers. Yeah, because we complained here, Kenashigwe came and others, all of you joined in, and then IG listened, and then they did transfers. So at least that's an improvement. So let's continue to harp on the equipping and maintaining, of course, and then we'll continue to call our CID boss, Madam Donko, right? Yeah, Donko, Lydia, yeah, Donko, please. The Akunta mining case, if you don't take this case to court, your tenure would never be recognized. Because this thing, every yesterday night, I was talking to Martin, you see, that was my first time of talking to him on a different matter. Then he was laughing at me. Patrick Pebu, you are always on TV3 saying that Martin, you see, says he's ready to come and testify. Yes, people are there. Akunta mining. Madam Donko, what is this? Because, look, I'm sure when I make noise here for the next 6 months, the next thing you know, I'll be sending a petition to the president that they should remove you. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. No, if we don't, those are the things we'll be doing. If we don't get angry, because people are there. Look, Abu Jinapua is still alive. He said, Akunta mining and Wuntumi had no business entering the Tanon Nimiri forest. Martin Isi is alive. The Forestry Commission executive, this is the boss at the time, was it Alute, certain Mr. Alute also. They are all alive. And this case, CID, you know, what do you call it? Faustina and Dokofi and Dan Paris stole the case. Now Madam Donko is come. Please, after 6 months, we'll ratchet it up. So that is what it requires. So we can't just sit aloof as citizens and expect that the police by themselves will work. No, it's a collective effort.
Right. So it's a
complex matter. Just one last point. And of course, let's go to Article 83. Because we all realize that this Galamsey matter is a national security threat. So it involves the whole of the national security apparatus. And I heard Tobu, Superintendent Tobu, yes, making the point. And look, let's look at 83. So if in 83 we have the National Security Council, you see them, the president, vice president, ministers for foreign affairs, defense, interior, finance, and other ministries as the president may determine, the chief of defense staff and 2 other members of the armed forces, the IGP, and then 2 members of the police service. One shall be a commissioner of police for CID. So that's Madame Donko. Yeah. Okay? And then the other one for the junior ranks. Then Director General of Prison Service, Director of External Intelligence, Director of Internal Intelligence, Director of Military Intelligence, the Commissioner for Customs, 3 persons appointed by the President. All of them. So all of this with national security, that is their responsibility as well. So it's the push. We've had Galamsey demonstrations. Very soon, you know, Oliver announced one, but with time it became clear that it was too early. You know, for Sukwachi, they are still enjoying some goodwill. We are giving a bit of time. But if we are not seeing the results, very soon we'll ratchet up. The fact that we are saying they will win in 2028 doesn't mean that if anything is going wrong today, we'll not talk about it. Remember our good friend Malik, this Mahama, may he so rest in peace. When he met me, that was why he said, look, that today, when we're going to meet, he said, I was looking forward to meet you because that thing you keep repeating on the key points, that the fact that your relation is president or in office doesn't mean that if something goes wrong, don't talk. That is why I like you. Because he was related to the president, and he said that is the truth. That is what we must do. So let's not look at our stomachs. This stomach direction politics hasn't helped us. Let's cut down.
Thank you. Now, just quick, yes.
You can give the police all the equipment, the law, everything will be on their side. Mindset. If you are not able to change the mindset, then you're not going to do anything. Haven't we seen security people go in there and also do Galamsey? Haven't we seen it? That mindset should be changed, and we need to find how we can change the mindset of our security people to think country first. And not think pocket first.
So it's a matter of...
And that is a huge, huge burden to take on. But that mindset should change.
It's a matter of the integrity of the persons as well.
Yes.
Because, look, if you... people you reference, reports of military personnel who are alleged to have also been involved and rather collaborated with the illegal miners they were supposed to check.
The report shows a certain mante also
exactly.
journalists.
So you even making the proposal that the journalists should be embedded in there, it all comes down to the integrity, the values, and the mindset that Mr. Jantua talks about. That's why I bring in Dr. Zato, because if you look at the Attorney General's approach, and let's put on record that these 2 individuals, that's Joseph Yamin, the national organizer of the NDC, and Abanga, the 3rd national vice chair of the NDC, they've all come out to deny their involvement. But then again, it has to be before Ioko, obviously, and upon honoring that particular invitation from Ioko, we'll get to know what the outcome of Ioko's investigations will be. But they have been responding to the media that they are not involved in it, but that will be subject to Ioko's investigation. Zato, we've seen this development this week, and the approach that the Attorney General is taking to fight illegal mining. The proposal of the ruthless measures that Kwame Jantua talks about, and then also ensuring that these kingpins, financiers, are identified. Is this a master stroke for you?
Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and especially talking about this Galamsey issue. This morning, I want to start by making a broader to say that as a country, Ghana, all of us, we must collectively bow our head in shame because of the shambolic way we've treated Galamsey. And this includes all Ghanaians, and we're going to say the previous administration and the current administration, because we have said that Galamsey is what? An existential threat. But we have not treated it as an existential threat. Because I don't understand, what do you mean by existential threat? If something is at stake, that means that our very survival as a people depends on it. So how are we treating it? so far, you can do an apple-to-apple comparison of how Galamsey has been treated in the past and has been treated now. I want to quote somebody this morning. His name is Erastus Asare Donkor. He says, I'm quoting, I hope what he says is not true. He said, one, in the president's hometown, Bole Bamboy, precisely Tuntumba, Savannah, illegal miners have taken over the Yonkamba stream, a tributary of the Black Volta. That's what he said. That's the first thing I just wanted to ponder, that to tell you how all of us as a country have become complicit and how it is. I also want to have another quote here from Dr. Tonedo. Everybody knows Dr. Tonedo. He says, 6 months is enough for Mahama to end Galamsey. I'm also quoting from Dr. Tonedo. I'm already disappointed in President Mahama's fight against Galamsey. And finally, this again, Dr. Tonedo, NDC has failed in the fight against Galamsey. The previous government failed Galamsey woefully. Now there's still time to go. But currently, as at now, there's nobody in Ghana, either media, civil society, anybody talk to, who will say that we are winning the war against Galamsey. No. So far, there's nobody you can talk who say we have even begun turning the tide. No. Nobody has said that. I say Arresto has not said that. Ken Asigbe has not said that. This guy that I always forget, Senyor Hosi. Basically, the people that are in the sector have told us that we have not started winning. The water color has not started changing. Nothing has been. They've not told us that.
We recovered 7 forests. The minister said it. 7 forests were taken back from the Galamseyers.
I'll come to Felix Kwachofosu to respond to those. So, Dr. Zato, yes.
Yes. 7 forests were taken back.
In fact, when this matter came up, we asked further questions about the specific. You remember? You were asking about the specific forests that have been between, so that we all get to know.
Yes. And
because eventually there was an update. There was an update that not 7 now, is almost all 9. All 9
very good.
have been retrieved. And you were saying that there's no evidence of turning the tide in the fight against illegal mining. Because you referenced Ken Ashigbe, so I'll come to him, but conclude on your point, because Ken Ashigbe is joining us right now. Yes.
Okay, so good. So we started winning the war, right? Are we winning it? Is it getting better? Is the Galamsey getting better? Are we winning? Because I said we are not winning, you said we are winning.
Yes.
Galamsey is not getting better.
Yes.
Thank you. So Tonedo and the others are wrong.
Oh, at least the 8 forests that have been recovered. It's a major step forward. 8 forests.
But Council, you indicated that there has to be some.
Yes, I wanted verification. Then eventually, yes, as Aridonko Erastus went and came, he hasn't disputed it. So the day I mentioned it, I think the minister Ama Kofi-Boa held a press conference. It must have been a Friday or a Thursday. So by the time we came here on Saturday, Erastus says, look, he should give specifics so that they who are on the ground can verify. But it's been more than 5 weeks now.
Okay.
Erastus hasn't come to say the minister was lying.
I think that's just, it's just a semantics we're using. These are improvement or winning. They are two different things.
It's a vast improvement. At least, we want to be fair to the facts.
Dr. Zato?
I want to, what's the name? My authority here is Erastus.
Yes.
He's the one who, he says that we are not winning. He says that we are not doing well. And he's telling us that is what is happening. So that is the authority I'm winning. But there are certain things that I want to talk about, especially with this, the arrest of these people. I like the way...
But they've not been arrested.
Sorry. The referendum. I want to thank His Excellency the President for this. I want to thank him for taking on one of his own, his national organization, saying that, look, even if you are in my power, you should go and do this. I like that because I have a theory of regime and post-regime accountability. And I believe that if you cannot hold the people in your organization accountable, another government coming should hold them accountable. So I thank him for that. And I'm so happy that they have referred this day from Professor Premfon Boateng's report for investigation. I'm also happy that it has happened. It's happened that so that I can do it because we shouldn't let anybody get away with doing this. But I can see some differences in how Yoko is dealing with this the investigation distance and how they dealt with the what's his name with the Wuntumi case. Maybe it's possible Wuntumi was belligerent. It's whatever it is. But I've also now known that it is possible for Yoko to do investigations in a more humane manner. I've not seen it's possible for EOFO to do investigations without denying people or reflecting on some of their fundamental human rights. So please, Yoko, go on this path, continue on this path, because it makes because you are a cohesive force of the state. And already, if anybody's invited to Yoko, I think the person will start shitting in their pants. So please, pardon my French. Please. So if it is possible for you to do some of these things in this humane manner, because ultimately at the end of the day you're going to do it. It's important to put that these gentlemen have announced their innocence. They said they are not involved in any galamsey. They said it's an internal NDC political matter, whatever they are saying. But I hope that they will be able to prove their innocence or otherwise before EOCO to get the gap. Secondly, we have also seen, and if you also look at it, that's what I said, that you can do an apple-to-apple comparison. We've heard that excavators have missing from the Galamsey site. Okay. I don't know the update so far. The National Women Organizer of the NDC excavators were missing. That is time they have been missing. We have reports that excavators that have been taken for Galamsey, they've gone missing. Where are they? Remember, when Akufo-Addo was in power, excavators were missing. I don't know whether they've been retrieved. Yes. Some of them were burned, some of them grew wings and flew away. The same thing is happening today, that excavators are missing. How can excavators just miss?
So you're referencing the Hannah Bishu statement there.
Later she had to retract because they say the police didn't seize those excavators.
So she mentioned a particular figure, and then when they went, they realized that it had reduced. Now the task force led by the police in that area indicated that the figure that she mentioned was higher than what had been put out or what they had actually retrieved. Not that, so it was no dispute. It was the clarification of the figure that she mentioned. So that's just to put it in context, that it wasn't as though the police came to say that what she said wasn't true. It was a clarification of the figure that she put out.
Yeah, so let's get the numbers so that the 33 looks closer. What are the numbers? Let's go down there. You see.
Dr. Zato.
So that we inform the citizens well.
Zato.
I like what you are doing today. I really love it.
No.
I'm just saying, I love what you are doing today. That even any sentence I make, you have to practice. Whatever I do, you have to practice. I like it. And I like how you are doing, because I don't know why you are doing that. I don't know. I just like that. I just like that. I like what you are doing. Keep doing it. Now, secondly, I also want to ask you, Mr. Gentro was talking about people who come to this country to do illegal mining. Now, there was a government policy announced by the Minister of the Interior about deporting people who came to do galamsey. I don't know whether that policy has been changed. But could it be one of the contributing factors that is sending people to come? Could it be that the penalties of coming as a foreigner and engaging in this is not harsh enough that they think that if you can go, has the policy been changed? If it has not been changed, I pray and hope that the policy is changed so that you don't deport them. At least you jail them and deport them, because if the only crime, the only punishment for coming to commit a crime that is an existential threat to the state is that you can just be deported, then I think it's wrong. I think that, again, if that policy is still in the books, so that we don't, because look, if a Ghanaian goes and does galamsey, he's thrown into jail. Then if a foreigner does it, the person is given a ticket, a one-way ticket home. I don't think it is fair. So we need to do that too. But above all, again, Mr. Ashigbe is on the line. I've never met him. Thank you for meeting you today. I've mentioned your name a lot of times, but I've never seen you online. Everybody that talks about this galamsey asks for two very, very important things to help the fight. Mr. Kwebu, I'm just telling you that you agree with us, that repeal the airline. We've been consistently told that repealing the airline and not, how do you call that thing?
That's amending.
We've been told that it will help. Two, we've been told declare a state of emergency at the water bodies.
Okay.
Everybody that is in this system has said that these two have the potential to be game changers when it comes to the galamsey fight. Everybody has told us that if you do these two things, it can fundamentally change the fight. Mr. Gentro, I can then understand why Mr. Gentro was going for the shoot first, ask questions. Because probably he feels that it's an essential threat. Now, that may be an extreme measure. But if we declare a state of emergency at these bodies, my point is that, again, if it is
stronger, can you explain what is state of emergency? Because even as a lawyer, that thing we've been banding around. I don't understand it well.
Okay, that's okay.
Throw
That's
terms
okay.
around.
Counsel, now, if you want a clarification on the state of emergency as is being asked, Engineer Dr. Kenneth has been leading that, so he would explain what the expectation is.
So that we see what's the difference.
But Dr. Zato, please run up for me.
I believe that if we are able to do these things, and together with what? Prosecuting everybody or anybody involved in Galamsey, together with closing the financial loopholes that are in Galamsey, together with tracing money from Galamsey to political campaigns to party holders, if we are able to do all this, and that means that we need a multifaceted look. The fight of Galamsey is a wicked problem, and wicked problems naturally do not are not very immune to what? Simple solutions. We need to adopt an all of the above approach to get this done. The only way to do that, I would say is now. We have thrown in the soldiers. We have thrown in the police. We've thrown in the water guards. We've thrown in, even now we are sending the gold board guards again. We have sent all of them. Why don't we adopt an all of the above approach? Why don't we repeal the law? Why don't we declare state of emergency at the water bodies? Why don't we and then see? Look, I believe that we have a window of opportunity to start winning this war. And that window of opportunity is about the next 6 months.
Okay.
The moment this year ends, because what is going to happen is that it's also about political calculus. If heir apparents, both in the ruling party and those in the opposition party, start emerging, they will take stands. They will take, what they do is that they take stands and they take coalitions, they break coalitions. So people say, oh, if you are not coming to fight, they say, okay, they are fighting you, me if I come on fight you. That's how they begin to divide the united cause against distance.
Right, thank you.
And that's just one. One for last I want to say is that the media is very complicit in this Galamsey fight. There was a time, if you look at almost all media house, on their tables, they say something with Galamsey in it. We drilled it into the national conscience. We kept reminding people, this is what you're doing. All of a sudden, they've all vanished. Why? The media is complicit. So please, let's all know, because again and again, it is an existential threat. Let's treat it as an existential threat.
Okay. Well, Solomon, also, you see, when you talk about the role of the media in this is one of them. Creating platforms and every week consistently talking about this issue so as not to lose the steam on the fight against illegal mining. But then, with what we have seen this week and the responses by these two persons, that particular decision alone by the Attorney General to bring in these persons in this administration, you heard Dr. Zato talk about that being commendable. But how far-reaching is it? Especially talking about the bigger picture of the fight against illegal mining, taking into consideration what Professor Frimpong Boateng put in his report, which was not implemented by the actual administration.
So, Alfred, I mean, I hear people say that the fight against Galamsey is a complex one. I disagree.
Why?
It's a straightforward one.
How straightforward?
If you like, go to the mining areas, just get to the stations where you have the taxi drivers. Ask them, those that are behind the Galamsey, and they can mention names, specific names of those that are behind. What we are lacking is the political will. Because these people that we know are involved in Galamsey are the financiers of our political activities. If you are in the opposition, that's where you see the relevance of these people. They will finance you, and after financing you to get power, how do you then go back and deal with them? So one key area of tackling is how we finance our political activities, so that politicians that gets to rule us or lead us will have the, I don't want to use the common word term.
Use it.
Absolutely. Carry on. To deal with those that is, as it were, are involved in it. Now, secondly, we need also to amend our laws. For instance, the Act 257. I mean, if you read Act 2576, it's only Article 257 of the Constitution. It is all, everything has been given to the president. So that my village chief, who has overseen this land all these years, has no power in aiding in who mines his land. I believe that the chiefs and opinion leaders there must be involved. Then again, you talk about we have involved the military and the police and we are still seeing no headway. I mean, Alfred, how do we recruit these military or security personnel? When people are paying bribes to get or enter into our security agencies, of course they have to recoup their investment. So if I pay to enter the security agencies and I'm sent to the forest to as it were protect the forest, and I'm giving bribes, you think reasonably I'll leave it a gum? So you must also go back and deal with how we recruit responsible, committed, patriotic Ghanaians into our security agencies. There are a lot of people that you see around wearing military uniforms and police uniforms who must not be closer to their security agencies. But because of lack of jobs and they found somehow money to pay someone, then they got themselves into it. Then again, I agree that the LI 2462 has to be revoked. It shouldn't be amended. But then my only disagreement with my brother Zato is that when people perceive to be involved, say kingpins are arrested, they are the very people who go and sit on the floor saying that, why have you arrested the man? This we cannot tolerate.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Wuntumi. Wuntumi is arrested, a kingpin. Now, with what the AG has done,
I was here with you, and you never saw me there. And I never said they shouldn't.
I am not saying you, but you belong to the MPP.
You mentioned my name.
Oh, what are we doing here? So can't you?
My name.
Are you not an MPP member?
No, but you see, no.
But you were the MPP on PNC, NDM,
I'm a movement. I'm a movement for change. What are you doing? Movement. Okay, let me just check your name out. Let me check your name out. Why is that doing that this morning?
Okay.
No, you mentioned my name.
Make your point.
So
you are saying
yes.
So this matter is being investigated by IOCO.
Yes.
Want to me, then so you're saying why do they go and
sit there? If indeed you believe in we dealing with the issues of Galamsey, let the laws work like the Attorney General has directed Yoko. Look, these gentlemen that have been mentioned, what's the name? Joseph Yamin and Abanga. I have my own intel on the grounds, and I believe the Attorney General is right on point.
Well, I mean,
he's right on point that if proper investigations are done, and I'm also very happy that he added the Professor Frimpong Boateng's report. I mean, this report, Professor Frimpong Boateng's report is an avenue to invite former President Nana Akufo-Addo into the picture.
Yes.
Because how can Professor Frimpong Boateng tell you that the greatest danger to our forest was Sir John? He was sitting right before you and told you this, and you did nothing about it. Does it relate to the fact that we had Alesta Mateus coming to tell us that every month the president was shipping $40 million worth of gold from this country? That is why he allows Sir John to go scot-free?
Well, we've seen the outcome of that.
What outcome have you seen?
You're talking about the Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera thing.
Akufo-Addo threatened to sue.
He couldn't, the man was confirmed.
Was he able to
sue?
Was Akufo-Addo able to sue?
You understand?
Hold on.
So that explains. Now we go into the details of the report. I'm telling you, if we are going to bring all those people into book, we will deal with the issues of Galamsey. You talk about Gabi. We arrest someone. Then he picks the phone and calls Professor Frimpong Boateng. As we speak, the one that was doing good to this nation is in court. Professor Frimpong Boateng is rather in court. He arrests someone. Then you have someone like Protozua. Frank Essie, he calls that I'm the boss. And he was the personal assistant to the chief of staff there. You remember the chief of staff, the former chief of staff's name, children were mentioned in Galamsey.
You know, they all came out to deny this.
Look, let me tell you something.
And they took on Professor Frimpong Boateng.
They would take him on, but he's the bravest of men that I've seen. He's one of them. For him to have called out his own members or party members that you were involved. All of them are walking about. Charles Owusu, all of them are walking about. So to deal with Galamsey, go for the financiers, go for those that are financed. The young ones you see in the various sites, they don't have the financial muscle to engage in Galamsey. How much is the cost of excavator for them to buy? It is these people who have that muscle, who have the political links to do that. I'm very happy that this government is taking them on, and I wish them that they go after them. If indeed Yamin and Abanga are involved, with my intel on the grounds point in a positive direction, then I would agree that a thorough investigation has to happen.
Well, we don't know the intel you have.
Yes.
So that one we cannot associate with.
No, you can't associate, but I'm saying that is why they are told. But don't forget Alfred.
It's for IOCO, as has been.
But the last paragraph is that if you go back and put the statement there, the Attorney General was saying that based on a credible report,
Those were the words.
A credible report. Attorney General cannot come and lie to the people of this country like that, especially against his own party members. So let us encourage them to do some of these things. Right. At the end of the day, if you check every party's manifesto or constitution, there is no word that is written black and white that when you are a party member, you are allowed or given the license to go and do galamsey.
Okay. Well, Felix Kwachof also is here. I decided to have him have this last word because all of you are involved one way or the other in the campaign, the fight against illegal mining, including him as well, because it was a major part of the party's manifesto that you were going to identify the financiers. That was one of the promises that you made. How far have you gone with that?
No. They say gold board people, they say they want to make it clear that they are not...
Gold board, they
don't stop galamsey.
The task force
they check smuggling.
on
gold smuggling.
The gold smuggling.
Yes, not galamsey.
Not illegal mining.
Yes,
the people that's gold, people who are trading in gold illegally.
Yes.
That's different from the task force, any form of task force that has been set up to fight galamsey. So those are two different things. Yes.
Involve galamseyers who are trading illegally too.
Well, yes. I mean, so by extension.
Well, Alfred, President Mahama and his government remain extremely serious about the fight against galamsey. Indeed, a manifestation of that seriousness is what you projected on your screen a while ago. The investigation of two leading figures of the National Democratic Congress. And these are extremely senior figures. We are talking about a vice chairperson who will act in the stead of the chairman if he were to become indisposed or not available. And then the national organizer, who is a key member of both the national executive and the functional executive of the party. Now, they don't come bigger than that. And it is only a president who is serious about a fight like that who will have the boldness to ask for investigations into the conduct of these individuals. Now, if I were to track back, I will tell you that 2 weeks ago, President Mahama held a high-level meeting at the Jubilee House. It involved the defense minister, the interior minister, the lands minister, the attorney general, the environment minister, and indeed all those who matter within the security apparatus. And he told them very clearly that nobody should become an impediment or a hindrance in the fight against galamsey. And that it doesn't matter the stature of the person involved in galamsey or allegedly involved in galamsey. They should have his full backing, or they have his full backing to go after such individuals. He even said that even if his brother is involved in galamsey, the team has his full backing to go after that individual. That meeting was preceded by another one that was held at the highest levels of the National Democratic Congress, where similar marching orders were given. The Riot Act was read to everybody who believes that their mere membership of the NDC and the fact that we have come to power gives them leave to engage in illegal mining would only have him or herself to blame. I must indicate that the two gentlemen have strongly denied any involvement in galamsey, which is their right to do. But as the Attorney General indicated, they will be taken through the same processes as everybody else will be taken through if they were to be alleged to be involved in this action. So that point must be clearly established. I also wish to state that President Mahama has not departed from any of the positions he took on galamsey when he was campaigning to become president. I noticed that every now and then there are some civil society operators and members of the MPP who make the claim that somehow he has departed. Galamsey started as some artisanal activity by low-level people within society who merely wanted to make ends meet. Before long, more powerful individuals in society had joined the fray. And it is that which has made the fight a bit more difficult than it should have been. And now I'm on record to have said that the only thing that has stood in the way of winning the fight is political will to go after the high and mighty in society. President Mahama has that political will. And as I've said before, it doesn't matter who is involved. And he has a track record of prosecuting his own. So he is not someone who will shrink from the responsibility of taking on people merely because of their membership of the NDC. There are people in the NDC who have expressed disquiet And I've wondered whether this will have an impact on our fortunes or not. President Mahama believes that fighting Galamsey will rather enhance the fortunes of the NDC. So that must be placed on record. The other issue too is that significant gains have been made. And I can say that Galamsey, or the fight against it, has seen significant improvements compared to what we had under the MP.
If you say significant improvement,
it is clear. Look, first of all, the will alone, the will to do this sort of thing was non-existent under the MPP. We knew about high-ranking party officials and government officials who were involved in this activity, and no action was taken against them. We know. But since we came to power, and it's been 6 months, we are comparing 6 months to 8 years. Everybody knows that it will take a bit longer to achieve the results that we want. It doesn't mean that between the time we came into power and now, we have been sleeping. Significant work has gone in. And indeed, I can tell you for free that between the time we came to power and now, 518 people have been arrested for engaging in Galamsey. 518. In fact, 246 excavators have been seized. Some of them have been burnt. There are some who have expressed misgivings about that approach.
What level of people are these?
Now, let me make the point. If you are seen involved in it, you will be arrested and prosecuted. So your level or the lack of it won't matter. If there's evidence that you are a kingpin, you don't go to the ground to mind yourself, but you are the one basically sponsoring the activity. We will come for you as well.
But is there any record of any kingpin being
we can get a breakdown. In fact,
that was the specific promise.
In fact,
that you made
on
as well.
Wednesday, the Lands Minister will be at the Government Accountability Series, and he will shed light on the details of these arrests and what have you. But of course, you need to have the evidence of the involvement of the kingpin. It cannot be based on assumption before you are able to go for them. At the very least, there's a high-ranking official of the, in fact, 2 high-ranking officials of the NDC. And I must place on record that they have a right to insist on their innocence, which they have done. We respect that up until evidence is brought against them. Surely, these 2 individuals don't go to the ground to engage in Galamsey, do they? So, at the very least, you can describe them as kingpins and financiers. But the president says they should be investigated, and they are going to be investigated. So that is an example right there of supposed kingpins being held accountable for their alleged, and I use the word advisedly, alleged involvement in Galamsey. 246 excavators have been seized. Let me also say that no excavator has gone missing. And in fact, you in the media too must learn to go to official sources for information. One of the things that we do, one of the things we do in this country is that we trivialize issues. So the moment anybody says anything, we don't probe it. Then we run with it. If you let me land.
I get your point. But you see,
the focal, I beg your pardon. You see, first of all, the focal point, the focal person for the fight against Galamsey is the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. He has help from other agencies, security agencies, to do their job. To coordinate the activity, he has recently launched the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS. So if you want information on what is happening under Galamsey, please go to these people.
Okay.
There are times when people shoot from the hip and engage in activity that they don't have responsibility for. Okay. No excavator has gone missing. I'm the official person of government. I'm telling you that on authority. Nothing of the sort has happened.
Well, that's good to know. But you see, if reason why I would not also stay quiet if you fault the media for as you put it, running with anything and everything. If you say if anybody makes any statement, we run with it. This is Hannah Bishu. Hannah Bishu is not just anybody. She heads the Minerals Development Fund. That institution in itself is not.
That may be true, but does the Mineral Development Fund? Does the Mineral Development Fund have a mandate to fight Galamsey?
But we reported. No, you can't. No. We reported what she said.
Even she says that what she said was not accurately reported.
Yes.
You see, so that is the sense. You see, again, that is the sensationalism bit.
That's why.
That is the. You see, you see, in the same way that public office holders must be serious, they must be credible. You see, what they say must be substantive. You also have a duty to cross-check information so that you don't create impressions that don't exist. I am telling you that no excavator has gone missing. In fact, she, who you quote, has publicly said that nothing of the sort has happened. In that the excavators were not even lawfully. The excavators were not lawfully in the possession of the police. Exactly. So they could not have been seized. So if there was an excavator, I beg your pardon.
After the fact.
Yes,
So
yes, but that is why. That is why you see.
The fact. After she had said that
is why.
And then she came to
that is why you know the source to go to. I beg your pardon. That is why. That is why you should know the source to go to. You see, when I come to this institution, and I want the position of your organization, I won't speak to the watchman. You understand me? I can come and speak to the watchman. He can give me an account, but it is not an account that will stand scrutiny. In the same way that your general manager, your general manager's account. So I'm only advising that one of the ways that we win the fight is accuracy. We must avoid sensationalism and blowing things out of proportion. If you want information, it is the lands minister or the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. I can assure you that steps have been taken to ensure that the sort of commentary that went on in this particular instance doesn't recur. Because it only muddies the waters and makes the fight a bit more difficult. Now, bulldozers, guns, motorbikes, vehicles have all been seized. And the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has been set up to coordinate this fight. Again, it is also very important that in the discussion we delineate the issues. There are civil society operatives who actually believe that we shouldn't even do mining at all in this country. It doesn't matter where you go and do the mining, they will say that it hurts the environment, it hurts butterflies, it hurts animals, so stop. You understand me? That view can be respected. It does not mean that it necessarily coincides with the interests of the country. It doesn't mean that mining in itself hurts the environment if it is done responsibly. The reason why I say this is this persistent, commentary on the LI 2462. You see, the impression is created that the reason why people are mining illegally in forest reserves is because of this law. That is not the case. That law works in conjunction with 13 other laws, parent laws, to regulate lawful mining activity in forest reserves. Lawful mining activity in forest reserves. It does not regulate illegal mining activity. In that regulation, the president was given power to ask the minister to grant a lease to mining companies to do mining in forest reserves. But that is lawful. It is regulated. And therefore is not harmful to the environment in the same way that illegal miners do it. You understand me? Now, today, you cannot say that you have scrapped regulations that guide how a particular activity provided for by law should be done. The moment you do that, there is no regulation. It means that you are creating chaos. Some have said that there used to be guidelines, but the guidelines don't exist anymore. They have been replaced by regulations properly passed by the Parliament of Ghana. The problematic clause in that was that the president could grant the lease. That has been removed. There's another law, the Mining and Minerals Act, that allows mining to be done in forest reserves, but lawfully. You see, some also say that we should even ban immediately mining in forest reserves. Alfred, you see, we are a country of laws. Between 1987 and last year, 20 mining leases have been granted to companies. We have taken money from them and agreed that they should mine lawfully in forest reserves. They include some of the biggest mines in the world, Newmonts, and what have you. You've taken their money. Then midstream, you decide that you have banned mining activity. The implication is that you must find their money for them. It runs into billions of dollars. Do you have billions of dollars to hand over to these companies to ask them to leave immediately? No. So you can't go to Parliament and pass a law that today everybody should stop mining in forest reserves. Unless, of course, you are able to reach agreement for them to walk away quietly or give them alternative places to mine. But even then, they have to agree. You cannot enforce that. No court in this land, in the world, will ever vindicate the rights of a government that does that. It will be lawless. And it will damage our reputation as a country permanently in terms of investment. I must also stress that those companies are doing so responsibly because they have the expertise and capacity to reclaim the land for you after in fact, it was a condition for granting them that lease. So whereas we respect the views of civil society and those who say that, it must be tested against the reality, the objective reality, the interests of the country, and what we can or cannot do as a government. The other issue too about state of emergency, And it's important that Martin asked that question. You see, what is the state of emergency? It means that you say that a special dispensation has come into play. When you see a minor shoot him dead, the president will take responsibility. That is what we are saying. But why are we suggesting in this country that we should operate a shoot-to-kill policy? Look, even murder, when somebody kills a human, which is perhaps the most ultimate crime in human history, you have to go through. You are not allowed to shoot a person dead immediately. You accuse him of murder. Armed robbery. The punishment for armed robbery is not summary execution. Do you understand me? Yeah. So Galamsey is a horrible crime, but there's a reason why laws are made so that we don't live in a chaotic society. So tomorrow, soldiers will kill people extrajudicially, and they will come and tell you that they are minors. You go and put them in mining pits and claim that they are minors. You have no way of knowing whether or not it is true. Indeed, we have had instances where the police have opened fire on people, killed them, and come to claim that they are armed robbers. When the alternative narrative shows that indeed they were not armed robbers. So you cannot allow that. And then thirdly, Alfred, do we necessarily need a state of emergency before we can fight Galamsey? People speak as though the day you declare a state of emergency, Galamsey is won. That is, it is not as simple as that. So that's why I said that, yes, civil society has a right to speak, but let us not create an impression that the moment civil society says this, that is what must happen. Otherwise, there's no other path. Look, if you hold, and I have said it, I have accused President Akufo-Addo of, if you like, indirectly encouraging Galamsey because of his lack of will to fight it. The day you get a leader who is willing to go for any and everybody involved, we will begin to win it. And that's what President Mahama is doing. That is what you require. You don't need a state of emergency to hold Abanga or Yamin accountable if there's evidence that they are engaged in Galamsey. You need a state of emergency to do that. Some said that, oh, we said this in opposition. We said that the law should be repealed. True. But you see, when you take over power, you have a right to act responsibly. You review all the facts. You review all the existing issues, and then make a determination how to go. If you have a path that achieves the same objective. For instance, I'm coming to TV3. When I was coming, I used the switchback route. Okay? If I also go through Osu and come here, what matters is that I have come to TV3 on time to engage in the activity to the extent that it was not an illegal route. So yes, there was a chorus about repealing the, what do you call it, airline. True. We may have said so too. But if you come into Pai and say, look, no, there are existing agreements that tie our hands, and we can't do this. Unless anybody can tell me that what I'm saying is not true. Why? All the leases that we have given to these companies, the day you say they should stop, is Dr. Zato and those who are calling for this. Are they saying that we have billions of dollars to hand over to these people immediately so that they walk away? What is the alternative arrangement? What is the alternative arrangement to finding the money for them to live? Where is it? They don't state it. In any event, again, I asked Dr. Zato, is the reason why mining is taking place in forest reserves this LI 2462? The answer is no. That is not why mining is taking place there. There are 13 other legislations that encourage that activity. So, once the president no longer, and going forward, we are not able to grant mining leases in forest reserves, it's the beginning of the war. But we must find a way that allows for a transitional arrangement for what we ourselves have entered into. We can't go and collect money and then turn around mystery that they should leave. Because there's a cost.
You acknowledge the fact that, one, you made that promise.
True.
First of all, that you're going to repeal the LI 2462 if you win.
True.
You've come, you said you have assessed the situation.
Absolutely.
You are tied into a number of agreements.
Exactly. You can't act
saying that
whimsically.
There's a transition to eventually repeal
First of all,
the LI.
Ultimately.
No.
Yes, ultimately.
No.
Let me tell you something. Ultimately,
repeal the
you see,
LI.
some have even suggested that, okay, repeal the LI and do new regulations. What does that achieve? That this LI doesn't achieve. What, again, and I'm asking Dr. Zato, point blank, what is in this LI, apart from the pact that has been removed, that encourages or allows people to mine in forest reserves? It is not that. It is the leases you yourself has granted that allows Newmont to go into a forest reserve to mine. That is it. So if you repeal this LI, first of all, what you've done is that there's actually no governing regime. Nothing regulates what they are doing, which is chaotic. And then number two, it does not automatically take away the rights that you've given to that entity to mine in forest. And I'm talking lawful mining, not illegal. As illegal mining, it is illegal to begin with. So you don't even need to do anything beyond enforcing the law. That is it. So these are the issues. And I'm saying that we respect the views of civil society. We respect it, and absolutely.
Right.
But we must pause. Okay. Oh, no. I can't say that. But we must pause. We must pause and reflect on the matters before we take positions.
Let me bring in Engineer Dr. Kenashi. But he mentioned Mr. Lamont.
No, Engineer Dr. is on the move. Okay. And so I would have to just quickly pick him. He is, yes, Engineer, can you hear me? He's the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and then also the leader of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining. I can hear you clearly. You have.
When I come to do this program, I'm not speaking as the
CEO of the you're the leader of the coalition.
As the coalition.
Before he comes in, an important point.
Yes.
You see, in fact, now he's the CEO of the Chamber of Mines, yes. Right? So some of the companies who are mining in forest reserves are people that he represents. To insist that LI should go and that we should ban mining in forest reserves means that his own entities are going to be affected. What is the alternative arrangement for these people? There are two pathways. Either you give them an alternative, which is in any event is also mining.
Okay,
it is still mining. Or you have the money to compensate them for abrogating the contracts you have with them.
Respond to that.
You know, that is the thing.
Yes. Let me address the question. So let me start off first with saying to you that I think you look at the position that has been stated by the coalition. There are several things that is wrong with this, the LI that we're talking about.
Right.
The LI itself was supposed to be an LI, a regulation that was going to replace the guidelines that was in place. In that guidelines the LI itself is built on nothing. And the lawyers will tell you that you can't build. Go and check and see what parent EPA Act was the mining in forest reserve built on. Nothing. The EPA Act does not allow you to mine. And so when you have a parent act, the regulation would have to be within it. So that is one of the illegalities that we are dealing with. And we and myself have been consistent that there was bauxite mining in the forest reserve. Newman had been mining in that forest reserve before all of this, guidelines came in place, and now we started seeing the damage. Let me tell you another thing that is wrong with the guidelines. If you had gone with the guidelines, and even the position that the chamber took when this guidelines was coming on, there was a limit of 2% of the forest reserves that you could mine. And then in the guidelines, it was only mining in production forest reserves. This current one it takes away the production completely as well. In this current LI that we have, before you go to the Forestry Commission, the minister would have given approval. The Minerals Commission would have, the EPA would have. The initial guidelines, you start with the Forestry Commission. So we could have repealed this and replaced it with another LI that was the same as with the same ingredients that the guidelines had. And so that's a very fundamental point that has to be made. But let me come. I think that we have to state that one of the major challenges that we have is the politically exposed people. So I am the first to commend the government for this particular activity that has happened in terms of the two that the Attorney General has asked to be investigated. But I would have expected the same thing that was done when Akunta Maini, sorry, forgive me, when the Akunta Maini issue came up, the arrest. Why have they not been arrested? Why is it just asking for investigation to be done? They should be arrested. We have petitioned His Excellency about the NDC MP for Awen, who has been accused by his chiefs, who says it's not true. The president has acknowledged receipt of the petition. We've not heard anything. Akunta Mining, beyond the last arrest that was occasioned by the press release that followed when the the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources did his thing. We don't know what is happening. Akonta Mining, there are 2 directors. Why is it that only 1 director has been picked up? There is the situation of the NDC constituency chairperson for Axim, who has also been accused. He's currently, even there's a civil case against him because there's no criminal case against him so far as that illegality is concerned. Why has he not been picked up? So we're talking about the situations where Gabi would have called somebody. There is also the situation where the NDC constituency chairperson for Dunkwao, when Erastus was following the lawfully sent task force to go and deal with the situation, he was out there asking why he had not been contacted. If you look into Act 995, he's facilitating illegal mining. That is a crime, and he also ought to be arrested. We have not seen anything about it. So I think that the move by the president, the attorney general, is a very, very good one. It's one of the major things that we need to do. It's just like the issues around clamping down on excavators. Another very important thing that we needed to do that has now been done. And so there is some positive change that has come so far as Galamsey is concerned. And so we are seeing that. But are we winning? Unfortunately, I don't think we've gotten to the point where we can say we are winning. Because the challenge you now even see is that the NDC criminals who now says their government is in power and they are now doing this, and the MPP criminals who were doing it in the past, now there are mergers between them. And they are working together. So it is important that we deal with the politically exposed persons. And the same attitude that America took to 9/11, when so far as terrorism is concerned, that's what we need to do. So when my colleague, lawyer Martin Pebu, asked that what would a state of emergency do? And then when I hear also my friend Felix also say it. Felix, it's not only the civil society organization that are talking about state of emergency. There are military and security operatives who are also saying this. There are people within your own government that when we speak to them in private, they also agree. What would a state of emergency do? And what you can outlaw if you do it over the water bodies. The water bodies where there's no fishing now happening anymore, where the waters are in turbidities of tens of thousands that the people are not using anymore to farm or to water their gardens. You can outlaw it and say that nobody should go there. That is what a state of emergency will do for you, and that is what it would contribute for you. Currently, as we speak, 2023, 2024, the percentage of prosecution, so far as Galamsey is concerned, is about 4%. If you want to change that and take a leave from the likes of the UK, when they had a crisis, and that was not even of the proportion of Galamsey, what they did was that they had courts that you could go into 24 hours, prosecution could take place. Those are things that you could do under a state of emergency. And you see, when Felix talks about the fact that Galamsey, even murder is higher, and then he talks about armed robbery, in most of those cases, the number of people that are killed, are not the numbers that Galamsey is killing. Galamsey is genocide, it's ecocide. It's worse than somebody taking a gun and killing one person. If I want to list to you the number of people who have died from Galamsey, including even the Galamseyers, go and check. I think last year or some time ago, Galamseyers in a pit in Takwa, over 40 of them died. Recently, you have another one.
Right.
And these activities are what is causing this. Is that the number no worse than what the murder cases that we have on our hands? How many people died in 9/11? Go and look at between the time Nanado was in power. How many people died in open pits of Galamsey? How many people did caves fall upon? So we are not looking at the fact that as we speak, even our own democracy is at risk.
Right.
We have the situation of Abrewa Ninkrai. What did we see in that particular situation? So the thing that we are saying is that there is some positive action that is taking place. And we need to commend that, and we need to support that.
Okay.
We need to make sure that Iyoko...
I think you're quite clear. You're saying, yes, there's some positive change or some positive action, but then a lot more needs to be done. You say we are not winning as it is now.
So what I'm saying again, you see, as a social scientist and also as a fiscal scientist, as an engineer, I would only be able to tell you that when I have empirical data to point to that. So currently, what is the level of turbidity of the water bodies? It will be a good sign that that you could use. In terms of the forest reserves, when we talk about 9 have been reclaimed, Jimera was one of them that have been reclaimed. But you still have the IGP going back there and finding people in there. You still have the situation where the Forestry Commission, people will go there and some of them are hacked. If you go to Abraham Ninkrai now in Jerusalem, people have come back in there. So we need evidence to be able to do that. And it's one of the things that I would ask Felix to be able to do for us. Provide us evidence that we can independently vouch for, and then we will be able to use that to be able to do that. Currently, one of the elements I can tell you that it's leading to a decrease is the fact that because the excavators are now controlled, especially the number that comes in, you are beginning to see a decline in the impact of Galamsey. But let me also point another thing out. It is important when the CEO of the gold board say currently they cannot separate gold that is coming from Galamsey from the one coming from the legal small-scale miners. That's a major risk. So it is important that we can support the gold board immediately. We can't wait till September to ensure that illegal gold, we are not. Otherwise, what is happening is that as a country, we are funding the illegality. And these people are leaving in their wake a lot of damage, a lot of loss of revenue to government itself, and then the damage to all of us. So yes, but I think, one of the things that has to be done, and it's something that the government has said, but it's not implementing. We want to solve Galamsey in the next 2 months. We should hold every MCE, DCE in the Galamsey place. The president has said it, the Minister for Lands has said it, make that a KPI for them. So that if we find Galamsey in your community, it is either that you are complicit or you are incompetent, and we'll sack you immediately. We should also make sure that every police commander in all of those communities, if Galamsey is happening, you will be sacked. And if we find you complicit, you will be prosecuted. That is also another major thing that we need to do.
Okay. Now, Engineer, so there's a quick intervention from the Minister.
The president has told all DCs that if this evidence of Galamsey is found in your district, you will be held liable as the head of the security, committee.
District Security
and you'll be
Council.
fired. He said it already. Yes.
I see. So
I agree with the extending it to the security bosses too. That I agree with. But if the president has taken it a notch higher by making the political head of the district the one ultimately accountable for incidents of Galamsey in the district. Yes.
No, but I just want to, while we draw down the curtains on this matter, is there a commitment to still repeal the LI 2462 after having taken out that problematic part of that LI that gives access to these mining companies to mine forest reserves?
Indeed, the Attorney General has said that one of the ways that this can be done is that the Minerals and Mining Act, which itself allows mining in forest reserves, can be amended. The moment you remove it, that activity no longer exists. But the only difficulty are those that you've already given leases to who are doing it. What do you do with them? If we had a solution to that, there will be no problem with it. Because I can assure you, I can tell you today, that President Mahama has no problem ensuring that mining does not take place in forests. That is the reason why he has said that he will not grant any lease for mining to take place in forests, except that we have done things in the past that have caught up with us, that ties our hands. That is the only stumbling block to all of this discussion. But going to Parliament to repeal that act, that regulation, it's not an issue. We will do it in one day. You understand me? That really is a stumbling block. But as we speak, nobody has offered a solution to that problem we have of having taken monies from people in the past since 1987 and giving them leases. What do we do with them?
Okay, Dr. Zato, that's a quick one.
But that's a lot of money. Look,
so that's
as a country,
I need to move on. Just quick one.
Thank you very much.
Because now we're getting to know that leases have been issued.
Yes, thank you.
And there's a consequence
20 of them.
I'm very grateful that the Honorable Minister has made certain admissions that has made things clear. So the first thing I really want to understand is that from what he's officially saying, the idea of repealing this and declaring a state of emergency Are they off the table? I'm not very clear about that.
Oh, no,
are
they
they
are
off
not.
the table?
They are not off the table. They are not off the
Secondly,
table. I'll explain the stumbling blocks. Yeah.
In October on the one of last year, we went on a strike. The university calendar was thrown into chaos. Students were punished. Everybody, labor went on strike. What we're asking for was the repeal of this LI and partly because of this state of emergency. All of last year, that was what everybody was asking for. True. Nobody gave, we didn't try to get a nuanced understanding of this issue. It was just, it was presented as a simplistic way. Repeal this law, do this thing. Today, I am happy the minister is giving us a more nuanced answer. What he's saying is called in public policy a wicked problem. Yes. Galamsey is a wicked problem. Rachel and Weber 1973 proposed this to talk about problem. But the point, and I'm also happy that you've tried to indemnify yourself that when you were campaigning opposition, you didn't present it as a wicked problem, but as a simple problem with simplistic solutions. Now, and that's the issue. When we don't explain this is better to citizens, they think that we are being dishonest. The fact is that some of these problems are difficult and they're challenging. And we must accept and acknowledge that it is not going to be easy to just, it's not a switch. Let's say governments inherit assets and liabilities. He said you've inherited this. You cannot just switch them.
There are two separate problems. There's Galamsey, which is illegal. Now I don't need to amend any law to fight.
Yes.
In fact, in my candid view, that is actually the biggest concern of Ghanaians.
Agreed.
The bit about mining in forest reserves, in my view, has to do with environmental activism by environmental activists. They are two separate issues. Often we conflate both and make it seem like they are the same problems. And I'm a scientist, so I know that there are environmentally sustainable ways of doing mining. In fact, one of the things that you also don't do as a country is to tie your hands behind your back. Look, we are a developing country. We need all the resources we can get. If today it emerges that we discover something like, say, uranium, which is a vital, or cobalt, a vital component for electronics and other things that can be manufactured. That will give us billions of dollars to finance our development as a country. But we can do it responsibly. Why do you want to tie the hands of the president from granting such a lease, for instance? Environmental activists will say that no, it is not worth doing it because it has this and this and this impact. Fine. But that is entirely separate from illegal mining of the sort that people are doing in mining reserves. So if we delineate the issues, we will see that we are actually saying the same thing, really. I said that maybe the parts that we are using may differ. That really is the issue.
Well, thank you. And also, just a minute on this, because I need to move on to the next issue. Because I know you wanted to do a quick
so I believe that
quick.
what I want to find out is that this LI 2462 was introduced in 2022.
That is true.
So at that time, what problem was it going to deal with?
It is a regulation. There were guidelines that the government already thought were not robust enough to guide the activities. You see, when a company gets a lease, the lease says you can enter a forest reserve to do this activity. The LI says, in doing this activity, you must follow these rules. So the reason why the LI exists in the first place is that there's a law that allows somebody to go into a forest reserve to mine. So if you want to address it, it is that law that permits somebody to go and do the mining that you did. In fact, the day you remove that law, this LI will cease to exist.
So we didn't need
they will not be built on anything.
That means we didn't.
No, we need it. We need it to regulate the activity. Except that in doing it, a certain provision was inserted, which allowed the president. It basically repeated existing provisions in law, which was not necessary. That is the point that Ken has sought to make this morning. So that really is the issue. It is not that we are not committed, but when positions are taken, we must weigh it against objective reality. What is in the best interest of the country? If everybody was mining lawfully, responsibly, that we won't be having this discussion. But at the height of the concerns about Galamsey, this matter was brought in as a separate issue, but we've ended up conflating the two and making it seem that they are the same problem. That actually is the issue.
Well, but the fundamental concern here, so that there's still illegal mining taking place in some forest reserves.
Yeah, that one you don't need an airline. That one you just need to enforce existing. In fact, the mining laws say you cannot mine without a lawful lease.
Okay.
Especially our 81 forest.
Exactly. You don't need any law.
Okay.
You don't need a regulation.
So 81 forest.
So
it is illegal. You don't need anything.
So that had to be clear, so that we know. exactly.
In fact, illegal mining anywhere, not just minerals. If people came to start mining in your yard here, it would be illegal. They immediately have to be held accountable.
They're doing it on the main highway, so.
Yes,
the example I gave was
that one. So it is a separate criticism to say that there is
yes.
illegality that we are not fighting. That is a separate criticism from saying that the activity of lawful mining in forest reserves must be stopped. It's an environmental activist position.
Yeah, I get it.
A government can disagree with that without incurring the wrath of citizens. Like Greenpeace.
1 minute.
You know
Unfortunately,
Greenpeace. They don't want
I need to
fishing
move on to the next
to be
issue.
carried out. And in fact, they go to the extent of actually arming themselves to fight people who are mining, who are fishing in the seas.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. You know, this is a conversation that's not going to end today. You know, this is a conversation that we are not ending today.
It's a recurring conversation.
I've got to be honest with you. 30 seconds.
The entire stretch of Ghana is covered in oil and gas, and it's covered in gold.
Of course.
The entire stretch.
Of course.
If the entire stretch is covered in gold, why do we go into forest areas? Why? The entire stretch. I've seen the map. When my father was local government minister in the Rawlings, we saw the map. Everywhere is covered in gold. Why do we go into forest reserves?
Okay.
That is what I don't
Right
understand.
on.
The problem is that we have done that, and it has led us to.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
That's why we have to be realistic.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that I think we're very clear in our minds, but the fundamental question here also still remains clear as to whether or not this fight against illegal mining, a lot more has to be done in winning the war, because Engineer Kanashigbe says, yes, there's been some positive change, but we have to do more to win the war and the fight against illegal mining.
Absolutely.
I think that's clear.
Everybody agrees
and
with
then
that.
also
Everybody
that
agrees with that.
in clear terms, that call for the repeal of LI 2462 now, you as a government, although you made that promise, you are engaging to find other ways of dealing with the problem of the leases that have been issued to mining companies to mine in forest
really
reserves. So the commitment to repeal the LI
is there. In fact,
the commitment to repeal the LI is still there.
Some have proposed that, okay, scrap this and bring new airlines. But what does that achieve that this one doesn't achieve?
Okay.
So why don't you just remove the problematic
Exactly.
clauses and let it be?
Well, but that's why you still need to come back to the people. You need to come back to the people because that was a promise that was made. Thank you. Because that was a promise that was made that you're going to repeal. Now come back to the people. Let's understand. And I think that's one of the reasons why this engagement
that's
is
why
good.
platforms like this are important. You know, there are problems. Sometimes politics is such that it restricts you from saying what you really want to say for fear of incurring the wrath of people.
Exactly.
But that position may be the truth. You understand me? This ally is not easy to speak about. And I say this with the greatest respect to everybody. Sometimes, and I'm not referring to Ken or anybody, there are some people who engage in this argument in an emotive way. You see, they simply don't listen to any explanation you offer because they are dead set in their minds that it must go. They don't probe the issues. They don't look at what the implications are. You understand? So that really, and it is not Ken or any of the activists.
Engagement is key.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Today we are saying let's engage in a more nuanced.
I agree.
Okay, engagement is key.
There's often the fear of doing this nuanced argument because people fear that you will incur the wrath of the public. So they will perceive you as defending wrongdoing when it is actually not wrong.
Okay, thank you. That's why we consistently talk about engagement to ensure that there is clarity on exactly what you intend to do. But then that leads whether in power or out of power. It's true. Let's go on to the next issue. Gentlemen,
for the position we took in opposition, it's legitimate, it's valid, we accept it. It doesn't mean that as a government we shouldn't look at the objective facts.
Thank you very much.
In the best interest of the country.
This is where a government in
Thank you very much.
should work with an opposition to know exactly what the state is. But we don't do that.
Okay. Well, talk about not doing that and what has to be done as well. Yesterday, you addressed the nation.
That is true.
On a vexed matter of this controversial cathedral that the ex-Well administration or the former president, that's Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had to or in his view, do to thank God as a promise for winning the elections? Because that was what he said in clear terms. Now we got to know how much at the time. This was some 2022. So when the former finance minister appeared before that Central Committee in Parliament, the figure that was put to how much has been spent on this cathedral site is $58 million. Yes. Now you give us an update of what the Deloitte audit report revealed. That we probably may have spent more than that. We visited the cathedral site just a week ago, and this is what we saw. We put it on the screen, just for our viewers to have a clear idea of what is happening at the cathedral site. There's nothing happening. The dugouts and the foundations that have been created have collected rainwater. There's virtually no activity as we speak. But then we spent, from what we're hearing now, you put the figure to what? $97 million. This is the updated figure, $97 million on this, the site alone. Does that mean that this figure doesn't include and Mr. Kwajopo, so I'll start with you on this for good reason. This figure doesn't include the compensation and the resettling of, for instance, the passport office, the scholarship secretariat, the Mali embassy, the Malian ambassador's residence. We had also COMSIS, a private firm, and then also we had a real estate developer who even took government to court at some point, also had their offices demolished. We had the deputy Shraj boss also having the residence demolished at this same location, and some 11 judges, residence also demolished. All of that cost of resettling these people and companies has not been added to the $97 million. No. I see. Let's get into it.
First of all, let me clarify that the $97 million figure is not the matter broached by the report, the audit report.
Okay.
I know that because the contractor has submitted payment certificates to the finance minister to pay him. And before we came to power, the conventional knowledge was that the whole cost $58 million. That is as far as available information could lead us to. So that $58 million has been paid. But we came into power to meet payment certificates of $39 million being demanded by the contractor. And you see, if you put it together, that's $97 million. To put it in perspective, $97 million is $3 million more than the amount it cost to construct the Pokwase interchange. So you can compare the Pokwase interchange to what you have here on your screen to see whether it is money well spent. $97 million is also almost half of what was used to build the University of Ghana Medical Center. So you can look at that edifice, half of it, and compare it to what you have here and see whether it is the best use we could have put our money to. But I need to offer some clarifications even before I delve into the report. First of all, this Deloitte and Touche report was not commissioned by the government of Ghana. So when I speak about forensic audit, there are some who have said, oh, if government has commissioned audit already, why do you want another forensic audit? No. This was commissioned by the National Secretariat, the National Cathedral Secretariat itself.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So even that alone raises, it is purely for internal consumption. It is allowed. They can pick them as the auditors. It is standard. I'm sure you have auditors who are this account. But the government of Ghana has not done anything of the sort. Number two, let me also clarify that no decision has been taken to convert the National Cathedral into a convention center or a cultural center. The 24-hour Economic Secretariat, as part of their engagement, they received a proposal from an organization. It's actually a continental body, who said that if they were minded, they could invest some money into converting the sites into their offices and then build a convention center for government or the state. That's what the proposal is. But it is not a decision that government has taken.
Okay.
That must be put on record. I heard that people had said that we had made a U-turn. And I can assure you that indication I have is that the president is committed to the position he took in opposition about the future of this. But we can only go into that after a forensic audit has become available and we have all the facts. Okay. Now, what had happened was that I think sometime last week or early this week, some MPP personalities began to make claims that there has been an audit which has exonerated the Board of Trustees and, if you like, the National Cathedral Secretariat. They didn't publish the report. They only put out snippets and sought to create a certain impression. But this is not a report commissioned by government. But as government, we have it. Because the local government minister who has jurisdiction over these matters requested for copies of the report, and he was served. Now, if you look into this report, there's nothing that exonerates anybody. It's what has happened. It's a mischievous conflation of financial statements or audit of financial statements with an audit of the project. So, TV3, you have auditors. Every year you publish your financial statement. So, the law requires you to file audited financial statements. So, the financial statement simply, indeed, if you look at the, let me take the, and I have all the reports here, including the financial statements.
I see.
And the management letter, and I'll come to that. So if you pick this one, December 2022, if you go to the table of contents, corporate information, report of the directors, statement of directors' responsibilities, independent auditors report on the financial statement, statement of financial performance, statement of financial position, statement of changes in net assets equity, statement of cash flows, notes to the financial statements. So you present the financial statements. The reason why it has to be audited is so that you don't make what they call misstatements.
Right.
So for instance, you say that, oh, TV3, you bought a car for your operations, $100,000. You will present a receipt. You will list it as part of your assets. When the auditor comes and you show him the receipt, he says, okay, yes, you've stated it correctly. That is entirely separate from looking into whether the vehicle actually cost $100,000.
Right.
That one will come in a management report. You understand me? So all the financial statements that the likes of Kingsley, what do you call it? Nyako, is that the name? The MP for Odan was putting out, did not capture the essence of the findings.
Right.
If you want to see what has happened, you look at the management letter. In fact, before I go there, even this report, if you look at page 10 of the 2022 report, for instance, the auditors disavow the information that was provided them. Let me read portions of it to you. If you look at point 3, it says the company's statement of financial position and statement of financial performance are not in agreement with the accounting records and returns for some sections as noted in the basis of disclaimer of opinion section. But this is harmless information. If you want to know the meat, you go to the management letter. Let me read you the cover letter that transmitted this report to the cathedral, not government. It says, management letter of National Cathedral of Ghana for the years ended 31st December 2021 to 31st December 2022 and 31st December 2023. We have completed the audit of National Cathedral of Ghana, which was conducted in accordance with international standards on auditing, into brackets ISEs. Those standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance that the annual financial statements are free of material misstatements, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the entity's internal control. An audit is conducted to enable us form and express an opinion on the financial statements that have been prepared by management with the oversight of the board. The audit of the financial statements does not relieve management or the board of their responsibilities. So the mere audit of the financial statement itself doesn't mean that there was no wrongdoing. It only says there are no misstatements. At least the figures we gave us, they tally. However, if you look at the details of the management letter, the management letter allows the auditor to point out flaws and shortcomings and irregularities and non-compliance with regulation. And Alfred, all the while that we were in opposition, these were the things that we were complaining about. When Honorable Ablakwa waged his campaign, he put out evidence of procurement breaches, of financial irregularities, of payments that are not explained. These are the same things that this management letter points to. This morning, I have seen a letter put out by the National Cathedral Secretariat, which, by the way, as of 1st May, has been scrapped. In fact, the payment of salaries to the staff of that secretariat, which used to be at the Flagstaff House, was stopped on 29th April 2025. So they have not, in fact, since we came to power, nobody has showed up as a staff of the National Secretariat. So they don't, if you come to the Flagstaff House, there's no unit there called National Secretariat. So that must be put on.
Okay, so since you came to power, none of them?
None of them.
So why did you pay them in January, February,
No,
March?
but they drew salary because they needed to find out what was happening.
I see.
So the moment we noticed, we stopped it. And the local government minister wrote to us. But that's a matter that you can look into later.
Indeed.
No. For the secretariat itself. But you see, the board of trustees, because they are incorporated by limited guarantee, you have to go through legal processes to be able to. So, and
they didn't have funding. If they had funding, you couldn't have stopped.
Exactly.
So
the Attorney General will trigger the processes to ensure. But you see, they claim in their statements that we have merely published management letters and that we have conveniently ignored their responses. You see, they create the impression that a management letter is an audit query. You see, when they are doing the audit, they will come and ask you, Alfred, this is your hat. You say you bought it 2 cedis, but we found out that it was 1 cedi. What is your response? That is an audit query. But in a management letter, yes, you said you bought it 2 cedis, but it's 1 cedi. Then you come and explain that, no, I bought it for 2 cedis. Okay, where is the receipt? If you provide the receipt, they will say that, oh, it is fully explained. If you don't provide, they will say that you were not able to show evidence. So that stands as an irregularity. Now let me come to you. I'm going to read to you verbatim, and I plead with you to allow me so that light is shed. There's too much ignorance, falsehood, and propaganda going on. So I'm going to read you about 4 to 5 pages. It will be quick. You understand me? To show you the importance of this management letter and what it exposes. For instance, one of the issues that they detected was that the total consultancy fees paid to the architect, which is Ajayi and Associates. Now, the office of the president was the one that procured Ajayi without going through any procurement process, by the way, which is a breach of the law. Because these are public funds. Even though they were limited by guarantee, once public funds go in there, they must go through due process. They didn't go through due process. The office of the president says they paid 113 million Ghana cedis. David Ajayi says they paid 117.9 million Ghana cedis. So there's a difference of 4.9 million. Now, the management response, this is what the National Cathedral told the auditors. Ajayi Associates confirmed that total consultancy fees paid to it is 113 million Ghana cedis. Now, Deloitte's response to this claim, and I'm going to read it to you, they say, as part of our audit procedures, we received responses to our confirmation from both the Office of the President on March 26, 2024, and also from Sir David Ajayi and Associates, also on 20th May 2024. A detailed review of their responses is highlighted on Appendix 1 on page 60 to 61, and we've put out this audit report. If you go to page 60 and 61, they put out documents that they received from the Office of the President and Ajayi and Associates. They said that these documents confirm that it was 117.9 million that was paid to the Office of the President. And they even break down the payments. One was 87.9 million, the other was 29.6 million, and another 369,000 Ghana cedis. If you put together, it is 117.9 million Ghana cedis. Yet, the cathedral, without providing any documentation or proof, says Ajayi confirmed receiving 130. How did they do that confirmation? So to merely say that your responses were taken, and it's not being published, does not mean that you have answered the matter satisfactorily. I'll go to another point, where they raise the issue of the total contract sum. So contract amount to the contractor. It says, we also noted differences regarding the contract amount, excluding tax and levies, for Ribadi JV, contractor of the project, during our audit work. Below are the variances. Amount per executed agreement, that is the agreement that the National Cathedral entered into with the contractor, was $261.965 million. Now, the Office of the President says that the contract sum was $286.465 million. Now, in August 2024, there was a progress report produced by the cathedral itself, which says the contract sum was $268.5 million. Now, when the contractor raised interim payment certificates to the finance minister to pay, They quoted a contract sum of $283.23 million. Now, the management responded. The contract value, as per, they responded to the query, and it is captured in the management letters. The contract value, as per the executed agreement between the National Cathedral Board and Rebadi, is $261.965 million. Now, listen to Deloitte's response. Deloitte has not received any additional information, clarification from management, as at the date of signing of the audit reports, to enable reconciliation of the different contract amounts above to the finance charges and interest management stated in their response. So they did respond, but it's not satisfactory. They didn't provide any evidence to refute this finding. I'll give you another one. Now, differences in mobilization fees. It's 0.1.4. Observation. This is what the auditors found. During the audit, we noted the following inaccuracies concerning the actual fees paid to consultants as mobilization fees, quote unquote. Details. Confirmation response from the Office of the President. They said the amount paid was $89,000. Letter from Sir David Ajayi and Associates on 13th August 2020. They said they were paid $950,000. So the difference is $861,000. Now, what was the response of government? The contract was signed between the Office of the President and Ajayi Associates. The board and secretariat are not privy to official communication explaining the variation in the mobilization amount. How is this a response to this variation? So what did Deloitte say? Based on Appendix C, free payment schedule on page 47 of the contract dated 20th August 2019 between the government of Ghana and Sir David Ajayi and Associates Limited, the mobilization amount captured therein is $1.5 million. Management has also not provided the appropriate audit evidence for us to verify which of the two amounts is correct. Then finally, the final illustration. Now, there's also the issue of additional works that was done. Additional work not captured in, so you sign a contract. You want to do additional work. You don't make provision for that additional work in the contract or through an addendum. We noted that the expenses listed below were incurred by Sir David Ajayi and Associates for variation order 1, 2, and 3. The cost incurred was for design variation involving 350-seater restaurant, museum extension, and Bible museum fit-out, and biblical gardens infrastructure. Below are the details of the various costs, so they list all the costs. Now, management did respond. Now, listen to the response of Deloitte to the response of management. Management shared the agreements for the variations 1 and 2 with us following our view. We noted the following. The original signed contract states on paragraph 5, and they state what it captures. Variation orders 1 and 2 has only been signed by Dr. Paul Opoku Mensah and not both parties as required. See Appendix 4 on page 70, and they provide evidence of this. Right. So this claim that their responses were not factored in is immaterial. The auditors have made damning findings, but the reason why this one cannot be taken anywhere is that they are internal auditors. Again, they also don't explain how the discrepancies have arisen. So it is only a forensic audit. And you see, people have said, oh, Deloitte and Touch is an international organization, so they are superior to the Auditor General of Ghana. That is the height of ignorance. Oh, no. The Auditor General is by law required to look into every public expenditure. Yes. They are also mandated to ask any partners that they find to conduct a forensic audit. So it is entirely possible that they will ask Deloitte to do the forensic audit. Now, what the forensic audit will do is that they will find out why the variations have occurred, where the money went. And the Auditor General has power to search, like Dobenovo was doing, and recommend further action. When they do that, it will come to Parliament. So the Public Accounts Committee will look at it, and then they will recommend prosecution or some action. Let me also state that even as this audit is going on, the National Investigations Bureau, IOCO, and others are all also probing the National Cathedral. So let me tell you what President Mama says should be done. I was talking to you about the scrapping of the National Cathedral. It doesn't exist. The Board of Trustees will be dissolved using legal procedure because they are limited by guarantee. Number 3, the President asked that this report be published. So yesterday, the moment I finished the briefing, I gave it to all the media people, and I noticed that you've published it. So everybody listening to me can go and read it.
They said, where is the full one?
This is the full one. This is the full report.
The one that came, it doesn't have the actual accounts. They say they don't want to lead them.
No. This, you see, there are financial, I have 4 of them.
But only one. We saw the management report.
Yes.
But the accounts itself.
Which accounts?
There's nothing.
No, there's nothing here. These are only financial statements. That's
yes,
it.
And that one.
That one too. In fact, that one too has been put out. In fact, that one, the MPP has actually put it out. I can give the copies. It's not a problem.
at all.
Yes.
But that doesn't disclose anything.
Yeah,
You see, it doesn't disclose
want
anything.
to read that one. They
No
say
problem.
they want to analyze that
I can
one.
give this to you when I'm leaving. It doesn't disclose anything. If you want to find out what findings they made, it is this one.
They say they want a financial account.
But that one, the NPP itself has put it out. The no problem. The National Cathedral Secretariat, they commissioned it. It was presented to them. It was addressed to them. They can put it out. You understand me? But the president also says that, you see, it is true that Deloitte has done this. They pointed out wrongdoing. But it is not forensic. They don't find out why this has happened and what sanctions should be applied. It is a forensic audit that can determine that. And that's why the president says that the Attorney General, the Finance Minister, and the Auditor General should immediately band together and commission a forensic audit so that they will look at, so that when you say that this your heart was 1 CD or 2 CDs, but we saw that it was 1 CD. We won't leave at that. We will check with the person you bought it from what went wrong to allow for that discrepancy of 1 CD. And then we determine that you've engaged in criminality. So such and such sanctions should be applied to you. So Alfred, I beg you, and the reason why I'm calling on you is that you are the media. Don't allow people who support dissipation of public funds, who support, why? How can anybody, an MP, wet a sword, publicly defend violation? Indeed, if you check one of the pages here, the auditors list 15 violations of our procurement law. 15 violations of our procurement law. How does an MP who sits in parliament endorse this violation and say that people have been cleared? And indeed, I'm also very disappointed in some media practitioners who exhibited shocking levels of ignorance. I want to rule out mischief, but it was shocking that they actually went on national television and claimed that people had been exonerated because the National Cathedral Secretariat issued a statement after they selectively put out the financial statements, which disclose nothing.
So it is the management report.
And indeed, you see, I have been following. Let me tell you something. Since I became actively involved in politics, one of the first things I did was to join the CGE. We took it upon ourselves to review the Auditor General's report annually. The Auditor General, when he does a report, they send what they call management letters to the entities involved. That is where they raise the issues and then make recommendations on how to resolve some of the weaknesses that they have determined. So if you read an audit report without going for the management letter, you are wasting your time.
Okay. But you see,
the management letter that
it is not a problem. But I'm saying that one, those who are saying that they have the what do you call it, the financial statements already.
You see,
but compare it to the management report and see.
So, but then again, I can understand the point that you see, Martin Kwebo comes from, that the statement of account will give some further and better.
No. See, let me explain what the statement of account. So, for instance, let me use this.
I think the management report captures
so it was an audit of 3 years of operations. The financial statements are that they are issued annually at the end of every financial year. It is standard. So, for instance, when you look at it, they will give you figures. So, and this is based purely on what the National Cathedral gives them. It doesn't probe the truth behind the figures. It is the management letter that tells you that after I reviewed.
Mr. Fosu, they say they want to read, so let's leave it at that.
But he's asking a question. So, for instance, Government of Ghana support donations for institutions. Note 4, they state the amount. So the auditor will see if the figures add up. Even as Asabi says that, oh, okay, there are no misstatements. But even in this report, as I read to you, they indict them because they say that the figures they provided does not correspond to the accounting information that they are supposed to give them. So nobody can take solace in this. The management report is the real meat. The management letter is the real meat, and that will form the basis of further probing into this matter.
But you see, you highlight a number of things, and you see the management letter or the report to management within that 3-year period highlights a number of things that you point out, and that's what we're going to put on the screen right now.
Sure.
The bloated and unclear project cost. The one that stood out was this $4.9 million discrepancy between
that was 4.9 million cedis.
That the money is paid to David Ajayi and so it's for the consultancy for the design as architectural work on this cathedral. The massive financial irregularities and the double dipping and duplicate roles. The questionable loan deals.
Exactly.
That's
so, for instance,
the GNS Talent Center.
Exactly. For instance, you have an entity dealing with public funds. A member of the board of trustees
unilaterally decides without documentation, without due process, says that I've given you 2.6 million Ghana cedis as loan, use it. And then later, public funds are taken and used to pay for the loan. When no evidence exists, first of all, of the granting of the loan, because no agreement exists. How do you accept this narration as something that we should run with when overseeing such a major national project? So when the auditor flags this and says that no, further insight must be provided, how do you say that you've been exonerated?
Okay, but you see...
Look at the project cost. So we are doing a project. The contract that we've signed with the contractor to execute it, we don't know, depending on who you are. And in fact, if you look at this document, they provide 4 separate documents.
Okay.
What the Office of the President says, what the cathedral says, what the progress report says, and what the contractor, when going to demand money from the finance minister, says is the cost. How do we live with this? And how does this amount to an exoneration?
I shall protect the public purse.
In the end, what the people who are watching us right now are interested in is that if there's establishment of the mismanagement of funds and corruption, there has to be retrieval.
Absolutely.
All right.
So,
but you do that only with the forensic audit done by
when is the forensic audit?
Oh, immediately. The process are being undertaken.
Okay.
So the auditor general just needs, what do you call it, a request to carry it out. That's all.
Okay, because this National Cathedral was captured in the oral preparatory team's report, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
In fact, it's one of the cases. It's one of the cases. Yes. You see, it's one of the 280 or so cases that are being investigated.
Yes. Yes.
So the reason why we've actually kept quiet as a government is that we want the investigation to go on.
Yeah.
But it was because of the noises that these MP people were making that prompted us to put out the full facts.
Yeah.
In fact, in addition to this, there's even another report compiled for the attention of the local government minister, which I have here, which details further wrongdoing.
So then, if established beyond reasonable doubt, then after the forensic audit, there would be what? Retrieval and prosecution.
Yes.
Prosecution and retrieval.
A firm decision on the future of the, what do you call it?
The site.
Will be taken. So but I can assure you that not a dime of public funds under the watch of President Mahama is going into this project. None. So any public funds that are used on this will turn it into something that all the people of Ghana would agree is vital for the forward march of our country.
Okay, so as we speak, no decision has been taken as to what this site is going to be used for.
That no decision has been taken to use it for a cultural center, a convention center, or anything. None whatsoever. But the decision that is firm, as I speak to you now, is that the 15.73 acres of land, which will run into tens of millions of dollars if you were to sell it on the open market, will not see a dime of public funds that is aimed at building a church or any form of religious edifice under President Mahama. And let me put it on record, at a personal level, I am implacably opposed to the whole idea of this National Cathedral. You know, it was done by President Akufo-Addo with a view to courting favor from religious fundamentalists for electoral reasons. He says that he went to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. And I have been there. When you go there, they let you write something on paper and insert it into a hole in a wall. And then you wear a cap and make a pledge to God that if he grants you something like you are. So he goes to make a personal request of God and then makes a pledge that he will build a cathedral. Then we are told that the nation, Ghana, must bear the cost. And you see, what irks me the most, Alfred, is that this was happening at a time when we were going through severe economic crisis. The president's position was that this project was the priority among priorities. That of all the things that we needed in Ghana, this was the most important. At a time when there was an audit report, a report from the Ghana Statistical Service that 8.5 million Ghanaians have gone to bed without eating one day.
You see, and this is what Dr. Zato, and I'll come to you, Solo, because seeing this and knowing today that the $97 million, which is the updated cost of the foundation works alone, that's the $97 million is what we spend on the foundation works, what we see there. This excludes the cost of reimbursing or compensating these companies who were located there.
The indication is that if you add those, then it will mean that the outstanding payment will be another $58 million. if you add those.
Actually, Dr. Sato, how does all of this strike you? Because we're looking at the list of buildings. Judges' bungalows demolished, and we have that we'll put on the screen. Mali ambassador's residence demolished. Shraj deputy commissioner's residence demolished. Judicial training school demolished. Scholarship secretariat was demolished. Passport head office was demolished. Comsys IT Systems Limited building was demolished. And then the Waterstone Realty apartment complex. That's what I remember as well was demolished. It took us to court. And then now we're getting to know all of this detail. Dr. Sato?
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. What I have said when it comes to these issues of investigation is the same thing I'm going to say again and again. And this is one thing that me and Solomon, you and I always agree on. I will never sit here or sit in the media and try to justify misuse of public funds. I will never sit in the media and say when the state investigative bodies or even the state's cohesive bodies are doing their legitimate work that they shouldn't do it. I will never say that. If I believe or if I think that people's fundamental human rights are being abused, if I believe that the bail process is being weaponized, I will say it. If I believe that the investigative or cohesive positions are weaponizing their processes as a form of political equalization or victimization, I will talk about it. But the fact that state institutions have the power and the right to go out there and investigate this, and that includes the National Cathedral. So yes, I am happy that there are investigations going on, there's an audit going on. We've been promised some actions by the minister here. Yes, let everything go on. At the end of the day, any man or any woman who in the name of God, in the name of the Lord, misuses or abuses public resources or public money, that man or that woman should be made to face the Lord. They shouldn't wait for heaven or they shouldn't wait for judgment. I believe that. Look, I would never, ever. I am sitting here today because of religion. I'm sitting here because of Catholicism. I'm sitting here because I attended a very good Catholic primary school, St. Gabriel's Schools in Tumu, one of the best schools there. I'm sitting here because I attended one of the best secondary schools in the whole country, St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary. I saw what the Catholic Church has done and done to my life.
Hey, so yes. Charles is better.
Which okay. Which Charles, Master?
No, it's okay. Yeah,
don't go there.
No, it's all right.
St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary, Lumen Splendid. We should let our light shine. As you can see, I'm doing that right now. You see? So look, as I said, do that. So for me, no. As I said, I'm not an auditor. I don't understand these figures very well. Let it be. If criminality is exposed, criminality is done, let the legal process take its course, let people go to court, defend their innocence or their guilt inside there. I am not going to sit here and be an apology for any of those processes.
Right.
But I also want us to look at something then. The government has inherited this project. We've talked about this hole for 8 years, and legitimately so. Now this hole now belongs to the government. It's now, yes, it's part of the assets and liabilities you inherit when you win power. What are you going to do with it? I still believe, if I was the president of Ghana, I would still build a national cathedral. Because I still believe that we have a national cathedral. The thing I would have done is to see whether we can make it a more of a multi-purpose national cathedral. One that attracts tourists. I've been to Rome. If you enter almost every cathedral in Rome now, there are even no prayers there. Almost all of them are tourist sites. You will see ordinary tourist sites. People visit Rome just because of tourism sites. It's possible to have a multi-purpose cathedral where you can use some for conferences, you can use some as tourist sites, you can do that. In other words, we now have a hole. What can we do to make sure that that hole starts to pay for itself? That hole, it must have a value. The government can choose to close it down forever. The government can choose to just fill the hole and rebuild the things that are demolished. Whatever the government decides to do, my hope and prayer is that by the end of 4 years, we'll sit back and say, okay, this hole, the government has done better for this hole, and that this hole has given us a better value compared to what had happened. If we all do that, then all Ghanaians can say, thank you, Jesus Christ. What I'm praying and hoping is that the value and the status of this national cathedral will be better next year, next 2 years, so that we can come and say, so that at the end of let's say, the 4 years of His Excellency President John Mahama, we will sit and say, we have now added value here. We've not used it for something. As for it being a priority or no, who determines what is the national priority? Who determines? And as we said, whatever the president used to do with this, he is determining what the priority is. And so we must always get that clear. Somebody has to say, this is the priority. Somebody said building a cathedral and using it for religious purposes was a priority. Now, it cannot be. So, when the president decides, and I'm hoping that it is used to a better use, a use. And as I said, I will still go for the cathedral. I will still hope that we build a cathedral, and I will still hope, because
not with public funds.
Why not? I'm still for it. If you can use public funds, we've used public funds to build things in this country that have turned out to be income generators. If you go to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, it was built with public funds. It's now generating money.
I see.
So for me personally, I'm telling you what I personally believe. I believe that, look, build a cathedral, but you make it a fun of multi-purpose cathedral. You can have a cathedral that have other things that will invite tourists. And I've just given an example.
All right.
Have you ever been to Rome? You will see. In fact, there are some cathedrals you go inside. It just is the edifice. People come there, and the Rome is one of the most visited places in the whole world, precisely because of its religious artifacts and religion. So you can do that.
Okay.
That is my personal view. I'm not saying anybody, but the point I'm trying to make is this. At the end of the day, we need to know, and I hope and pray, my hope and prayer is that 4 years down the line, when we come and sit here, if we are alive and we sit here, we can look back and say, okay, we took a hole that was almost, let me say, hopeless, or a financial hole.
Black hole.
Financial black hole. But that today, we have transformed that hole into something more sustainable, something more financially included, something that is beneficial to us.
Okay, thank you.
If we can do that, or if we are able to do that, then we have said that we have turned a bad situation into a good situation. But if at the end of the 4 years, we cannot say that. If at the end of the 4 years, we cannot say that value has been added to this project, that, let me say, a hopeless project has been revived, and its fortunes fundamentally turn to something good, then we will have failed.
Right. Thank you very much. Zozo, on this, having gotten this detail from the minister seated right next to you here.
I've been privileged to also have gotten the audit report, the management responses, the management letter. And when I went through, I cried within me. I realized that in this country, people steal in the name of religion. They steal, they do all manner of nasty things using the name of either God or Allah. That you recently heard, wallahi, wallahi. These are some of the things you must be prevented. They go there, they quote Matthew, they quote Nehemiah. Interestingly, this report has Nehemiah Group, remember? And let me say something about the Nehemiah Group. Whereas the government, in one aspect, whereas the government was saying that it owed Nehemiah Group almost $1 million, more than $1 million, Nehemiah Group was saying we were owed $155,000. You see, in most of the cases, whereas the vendors were saying we were owed less, the National Cathedral, they were saying that we owe them more. Yes. Because in the case of Ajay says you have paid me 117 million. The secretariat was saying, oh, we only paid 113 million. But you know, the office of the special prosecutor at one point invited former President John Mahama and questioned him. This is an opportunity for this administration to also question Nana Akufo-Addo. You know why?
Lie.
Because he paid. In one of the responses, they started making payments way ahead of even signing agreement. Yeah. And when the secretariat, they were asked, they said, oh, we didn't know anything about it. This one, it was His Excellency.
That's what the secretariat said.
That's what the secretariat said. In their response to that, the president, but they mentioned Nana Akufo-Addo's name, that he engaged them and started paying so they can go and find out from him. So they have given you a clue that go and find out from him. And let us know whether or not he had that power to do what he did. I totally disagree with anybody that would say that we should go ahead with this cathedral business.
You disagree?
I disagree.
Dr. In fact, thinks otherwise.
In the next 10 years, if my administration, my candidate was in power, what we would have done was to have a very big billboard by the site and write how not to govern the country. That site. So that it will serve as a guide to future leaders of this country. Who will do that? If we are going to add even the value of the land, plus the demolition to the $97 million, you will be running into $200 million without nothing. And he says it's a good project. Look, the National Cathedral, they claim to have collected close to 40 million through mobile money. When Deloitte and Touche went through, almost close to 39 million were reverse monies, Momo. That's why it couldn't go through. Meanwhile, you are accounted for, what do you call it, 40 million.
So how come?
Yes, I said people are stealing and doing all manner of things in the name of God. We are unable to tell them in this country. We must confront them. When we confront people, they say we shouldn't touch the anointing. We will touch your anointing. Because if this is how anointing is, that is a very bad anointing. Are you with me?
You are touching the anointed?
We have to touch because some anointings are very bad.
Touch not my anointed.
Who are the anointed?
Do my prophet no harm.
These are not prophets.
Really?
When people, you are claiming that when we go to Rome, you will see what? Cathedrals. Are people in Rome sleeping on their belly or, yes, sleeping on their belly to go to school or to write? Go and see the roads that we ply on. 97 million. The contractor between Amasaman and Sawam, he is demanding $45 million. Is that not the case? Mm-hmm. We have used 97 million to sink a hole. Is it not pathetic? And this is a party that is telling you that we should give them an opportunity to come and lead us so that they can further dig holes. That will not happen. We must not allow that. It's pathetic. But you see, on the basis of the management letters alone, without any forensic audit, it is enough to indict a lot of people. People must be lined up and prosecuted.
Based on this?
Based on, you see now, what I read and what is in their responses to the auditor, so pathetic. They didn't have answers to almost all the questions or issues that were raised. They were running away. They were running away. We are in this country, even Bangu and Fufu, we haven't finished it. You say, oh, we are going to cook Jewish foods in a cathedral. What is that going to do to us?
That's continental.
Continental. Alfredo. So our embassy and Bangu is not good enough. Something that you have eaten since infancy. Grown with it, all of a sudden, you have gotten anointed. So you must depart from what brought you up. All right, let me end it here and then see what...
So what you want is that, in the end, you want prosecution and retrieval of our money?
It has to happen. I have set time with that number. That the number of people that must face prosecution, the monies are in people's pockets. They are flaunting it in our faces. They are walking about with it. We know them. They also know us. We know where they came from and what they have today. Lifestyle audit alone will identify or determine all these issues. And all of us will be free. So this National Cathedral, now that we are going to go into it, it will be a beautiful scene for all of us. You get my point? Someone borrows money to the cathedral. He says it's a soft loan. Which soft loan do you pay back within 7 days? How can a soft... I give you money. I say it's a soft loan. It means I'm going to give you in ample time to pay. Maybe without interest. He gave the money within 7 days. He took it back. Without documentation. If he was running his own business, would he do that? And when we say they will begin, they want to pray against us. That prayer will never work. Because that child in my village who hasn't eaten, you are using our monies anyhow, and you say, Here Baba. It's not good enough. It's a sad situation.
No, but the trustees, they were very clear. They've been consistent that they would not, in their view, this site must be used for the project of the cathedral and nothing else.
If you go and ask them again, they will tell you that they don't want to even talk about the national cathedral. This was a cathedral that had our revered ministers run away from it before it was even dissolved. Remember, Otabo left. Remember, Duncan Williams left. Why were they leaving? Doug Howard Mills left. Why were they leaving? It's not good. I mean, nobody can be proud of what they have done. Even the former president will not be proud of it.
Nana Akufo-Addo?
He will not. This thing, it is enough not to allow MPP to come to power again. I'm telling you.
This cathedral?
It's enough. It's enough.
Let me provide you some information. You see, I forgot. You see, you do know that as I speak to you, even though the site has been abandoned, every day we incur costs.
Can you imagine?
The contract was so lopsided. And you know why? Because they have cranes and other equipment there.
Can you imagine?
They rented it. So the person they rented it from must be paid. But to the extent that it remains on that site, every day we pay. That's why the president has asked that the Attorney General takes lawful steps to terminate that contract. Because it's lopsided. Completely not in our interest.
I see.
And the site has been abandoned for 3 years. Yet every day we pay.
So it's not good. It's not good. And I believe that those that wanted to do propaganda. When I saw our brothers from the other side start making noise that people have been vindicated, I said, so are you proud that you have this whole with this magnitude. Initially, I thought it was even $58 million. That was what I was running with. Until the minister's expose.
Of 97 million.
Maybe you have to do further check. There could be other hidden costs that you don't know. Because it was free for all. Free for all. And in this country, we are afraid to confront people that go by this cassock and stuff. We are afraid. We are all of us. They have been able to put us into our place. That, hey, when you speak against them, you are demonic. But it doesn't work like that. This is taxpayers' money. We need money to do a lot of developmental works. You understand? So that's it.
It's also, President, Ajantwa, this just because of the detail we have gotten today, and then also the point made about what has to be done beyond this, because now, yes, the details are, in fact, the audit, the management letter has been published. It's a public document. And where can they find it? Because we serialized it on freenews.com.
We didn't put it out. We actually gave it to the media so that you use your independent platforms to publish.
So you serialize it on freenews.com. Yeah. You go there, you'll find it as well. We've taken time to break it down. Yeah. Lawyer Christian Mamhesi is joining us as well, private legal practitioner. Thank you so much for making the time to join us.
Alfred,
lawyer.
In Ghana, we respect personalities than the law, than enforcing the law. Constitutional Review Committee, that's where I'll start from. The Constitutional Review Committee should make sure they do what? They take out immunity for our presidents. They take out immunity for our presidents so that they can answer to some of these things that they do. If I had my own way, we would. If I had my own way, the immunity of President Akufo-Addo is for how many years? What's the president's immunity?
3 years.
3 years after leaving office.
After 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, Article 57.
We either waive that immunity or wait for the 3 years and question him.
No, it's counting now.
3 years from the time he leaves office.
3 years
So,
from let's waive it.
So from now to 3 years,
let's waive it.
You can do anything. Yeah.
You know why we should waive it? This land that we see there is causing financial loss to the state.
Right. You want
They should waive President Akufo-Addo's immunity so that he
now
can be
he doesn't
questioned.
have immunity now.
Well, he doesn't have it now.
No, up until 3 years, he doesn't have immunity. Yes, he gets immunity after 3 years.
So now we can question him.
Yes.
Call him and question him. Because this went to cabinet. President Baumia is doing what?
That is only an assumption, though, that he went to cabinet.
Whatever the case is, I'm sure he didn't take decisions on his own. Look, this particular project started as what? I had a conversation with God that if I win the election, I'll do what? I'll build a cathedral in honor of his name. Was it a national project? Was it in the MPP manifesto? Was it part and parcel of the manifesto they campaigned on? It wasn't. It was a personal pledge. So he owes responsibility to us to explain how monies have been spent. If they are not prepared to question him, they should question President Baumia, Vice President Baumia, to tell us what he knew about this project. This is causing financial loss to the state. Even let's put aside the monies that have been invested in. All those properties that were broken down, do you know how much it cost? Some of those properties are in the UK, what do they call it? They are listed buildings. Listed buildings from a colonial time, which shows history of this country. He broke all down. For what? A hole? A hole?
A cathedral.
And as a whole, do we have a cathedral at the end? Is there a cathedral standing there? Is there a foundation of a cathedral standing there? Is there? Can Ghanaians say, if for nothing at all, we have one-room cathedral on that land? Absolutely nothing. And then what? We sit and we fold our arms and say, oh, President Akufo-Addo has no responsibility. He has massive responsibility and he should be questioned about it. Because it is absolutely wrong to cause such financial loss to the state and we keep quiet. if I were Vice President Baumia wanting to stand for president of this country, that would be the first place, the first thing I would try as much as possible to clarify. Because he was part of government. He's the only one who can walk into the president's office without an appointment. Only one. And is he trying to tell us that when all this was going on, he absolutely said nothing about it? He didn't know anything about it? So what is your responsibility as a vice president? You don't sit with your boss who held your hand. And let's face it, nobody voted for Vice President Baumia. He was taken in conjunction with what? The president. So it's the president's handbag. Wherever the president goes, he goes with him. Campaigns, he campaigns with him. So he has a responsibility to the people of Ghana. This is a lot of money. You are now saying from 50 to what?
97 million.
$97 million US dollars. That could have built good schools, good hospitals for the people of Ghana. And we are keeping quiet because personalities are bigger than the law in this country. Something should be done. We shouldn't leave it just like that. And nobody should say, oh, because he was president. You are a servant to the people, aren't you? President Mahama, he's servant to the people. President Akufo-Addo was a servant to the people. And when you have a servant, are you not supposed to be responsible to the people? Can't the people question you, why did you do this? And what took you to do this? And the monies you put in there, how do you... Because look at the discrepancies in the payment from the different reports we've got. Felix has just looked at it. Yeah. Different. That goes to show that there was wuru-wuru in the thing.
There was what?
Wuru-wuru.
What is wuru-wuru?
Go to Nigeria, they'll tell you what wuru-wuru is. There was underhand business in the thing. Because right now, we are looking for who? Kenufuriata. Where is he? They say he's not well. And because he's not well, we can't question him. President Akufo-Addo, he has immunity. So, we can still question him, but nobody will dare approach him.
Why you think?
Let the Attorney General take it up.
Right.
Let the Attorney General take it up and question, because if it were me, would they not question me? Would they not put me in? Would they not say, Kwam Janto, how did you spend XYZ? So what is different? Is anybody who has been given, who has been voted into power, are they much more higher and better than we, the citizens of Ghana? What does the Constitution say about the citizens of Ghana? Doesn't ultimate power reside in them?
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm going to go for this. Hazimam, I'll take your thoughts on this particular issue. Well. Yes, and just in a quick one on this, so we'll go for a quick break on this particular National Cathedral matter. I'll go for a quick break. When I'm back, we'll get into it as well. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the city of London. I've got a number of your messages. I'll read them after the break. But remember, this outfit, we've got a number of you also sending messages in that regard. As always, I'm clothed by Kogra Clothing. It's the best version of you. You can locate them on the Spintex Road 18 junction opposite the Allied Oil filling station. Contact them on this number, 0244 238 341. That is 0244 238 341. For this outfit and many others you've seen me wear every Saturday here on Key Point. And Kogra Clothing, they pay attention to detail, and the material, the quality of the material speaks for itself. That is 0244 238 341. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani. From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7 and a number of radio stations across the country. Lawyer Christian Mamhese, just your thought on this cathedral with the detail that we've gotten from the minister today, and then also some responses to the cathedral Board of Trustees statement this morning about the press conference yesterday.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. For me, I don't believe in religious fanaticism. And for whatever personal opinions or religious affiliations are concerned, yes, it remains personal. To that extent, committing the state is one of a very intriguing points. However, save that as it may be, where corruption is involved and the state apparatus using its coercive powers is in exercising that particular function, whoever is found culpable should face the law, and that is what I believe in, irrespective of the political coloration.
Perfect. A number of people, J.K. Mensah says, good morning. I'm a Catholic as well. Rome was not built by public funds, meaning not everyone in Italy. Catholics all over the world, and it wasn't rushed to build then, you say. Thank you very much. Evans Dinko from Garu says, good morning. How deep has President Akufo-Addo buried the sedimentary rock he flew from Israel? I suggest we bring out that rock and place it in our national museums to attract tourists. This is the only way we can recoup part of the looted money, you say. Interesting indeed. Mystic says, yes, there was a rock.
This report doesn't capture the rock. The rock. Perhaps the forensic audit will come back. But the idea that we actually spent money to go and import a rock from Israel to come, I mean, come on.
Thank you.
So appealing to religious fundamentalism for electoral gain. That's all.
Thank you. From Mystic Wonder says, in Swama Dredri, good morning. I have always enjoyed the Key Point. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And this goes to the guests and then the
Ghana's
team.
#1 talk show.
Indeed.
Undisputed.
Indeed.
Unparalleled.
Indeed.
Yes.
Thank you to you all. We appreciate
Even
this.
at Tema, judges would approach me. I mean, in open court, they speak about key points.
Thank you.
We are doing something good here.
For God and country.
Unalloyed. No holds barred. We say
Thank you very
as
much.
it is.
This one here from Togbi Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo sends us a message. He says, good morning, Alfred. He says, age does not determine a good leader. I think he's pointing to something.
Oh, no.
It's a person's policies, integrity, and vision that truly matters. History has shown us great examples of effective leaders who achieve remarkable feats, even in their later years. Take, for instance, the aftermath of World War II, when Europe lay in ruins. Leaders in the likes of Konrad Adenauer, who became Chancellor of Germany at 73 and led the country's reconstruction, Winston Churchill, who led Britain to victory in his 70s, and Charles de Gaulle, who also shaped France's future from 68 onwards, demonstrated that it's not age that matters, but the vision, determination, and also commitment to rebuilding, leading their nation. Similarly, in our own context, Kwame Nkrumah, in his 50s, with a bold vision for Ghana, propelled the country forward. The lesson here is clear. Effective leadership is not about age, but about character, policies, and vision. The truth is, people who prioritize personal gain over the nation's wealth can be young or old. Let's focus on essential qualities when evaluating our leaders and work towards building brighter futures for ourselves and for generations to come. Toby, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo sends us this one. And Toby, I thank you very much. I received a copy of his book. Yes, and this is A Nation into Retirement, a narrative of a statesman by Toby, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, it's a good read. It's a good read.
Anytime.
And it's a good read.
Indeed. People they have the right to talk anytime. They pay their dues. And I'm glad, I don't know him, but I'm glad that he's documented this. We need people like him to start writing. Document it down. People like us, kids like us, will take it and read. And I'm glad he's done it. And let other people follow the narrative. It's good when they document it and put it there. We'll take it, we'll refer to it, and then thank you, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo.
We'll make references to this as we go.
Exactly, yeah.
I appreciate. Thank
I'm
you
really
so
grateful
much.
his document.
Indeed.
Thank
We'll have a conversation on this as well in the coming week. But the final issue that I want us to spend some few minutes, because it's an evolving matter. Yeah. This week we got notice from the Special Prosecutor's Office about some charges against Mustafa Hamid and others, the former CEO of the NPA. Let's put that on the screen. Yesterday we got details of the charges broken down. The Mustafa Hamid, the former CEO of NPA, he chaired the UPPF Management Committee. The total charges against him: 3, count 1, conspiracy to commit extortion; count 2, extortion by public officer; count 5, using public office for profit. Then you go on to the others as well. Jacob Kwamena Amoa, 18 counts: conspiracy to commit extortion, using office for private gain, or that's for profit, money laundering. And then you have as well Wendy Newman, a staff, audit department, NPA, total charges 10. She's not alone in this. And then Albert Ankra was then director of Propness Limited. Is one of 3 artificial persons charged in this. 2 counts. Isaac Mensah, 3 charges: conspiracy to launder money. Bright Bediako Mensah, CEO of Propnest and Care Logistics, King's Energy, 6 charges. And then you have Kweku Abuaji Aqua as well, the director of Care Logistics and King's Energy as well. I mean, you saw this, Lawyer Hesimam. Yes. There's been concerns raised about the mark shots that of these persons that were put out, but then also this further detail. How does this strike you? Maybe a few minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, for the mark shots, I believe it's totally wrong, especially if the law does not provide for it. Why make that out? And it creates a certain prejudice in the minds of the public. You are convicting these persons before they have a day in court, especially the charges leveled against them. It is a very tall order. We are yet to go through trial to have evidence-led cross-examination, court to come to a conclusion. So it is very, very unwarranted. It is more of a show of bravado that the OSP has involved itself in, to show that, yes, the law is with me and I can run it. My point is that if the law does not provide for it, it's needless. Show working, just go straight to the point. You are a courtroom person. Go to court, do your work, and let us see the work that you are putting out there than all these superfluous activities.
I see. On this one, there, you look at the charges leveled against these persons, a tough nut to crack, or you think that the OSP might have something up his sleeves that we don't know about?
Oh, by all means, the OSP will have something up his sleeves that we don't know about, because we all know that it's not a child's play to lay criminal charges. So if they didn't have the evidence, they wouldn't do that. I mean, if you read the facts, you see that they say that about 24 million cedis went through Mustafa Hamid's hands directly. That means that they would be bringing the very persons who put that money in his hands. Because, I mean, you would have no basis for saying he received 24 million cedis directly if you would not adduce that evidence. Right. You know, the total figure is 280. They are saying out of that figure, Mustafa Hamid, wallahi, he received 24 million Ghana cedis directly in his hands, direct cash. You see? And so that means that they would be bringing the witnesses. And, you know, the whole thing is that when we started hearing this through the grapevine, I was like, is that the wallahi, man? I mean, come on. About 8 years ago, he said the NDC had run the country down. We need to rescue this country, shed tears. We should have known that he should be the last person to be caught like that. Cheap. Very
but
cheap.
Of course, they are innocent until guilty.
No.
They are innocent. No,
by all means,
I just wanted you to
yes, so let's clarify this, please. We are not saying here that he's guilty of a criminal offense. What I'm saying is that, but there are facts that will show that he's received money that is not his salary. That one I'm allowed to say.
Okay.
He has received money that is not his fuel allowance. It's not his entertainment allowance. It's not rent allowance. That money, Article 284 of the Constitution doesn't allow him to receive it. Okay, so that one we can say, notwithstanding that there's a court action. There's evidence that he's received 24 million cedis. Look, that money, even in 8 years, his salary will never amount to that amount of money. But as we see today, he's received that. Look, you know that thing, it didn't start today. You know, Mustafa Amistin, these things that OSP is now brought out, you see, it's not every, okay, so we just leave it at that, let it go to court. But, you know, the whole thing is that, once again, people of Ghana, thank you very much for the change we brought about. If we hadn't kicked these guys out, you think we would have gotten to the bottom of some of these cases. So thank you.
Right. And I know that this is one that you are looking into, so we'll stay the steam on it in the coming. Lajantwa, please.
You see, one thing that I tend not to like is the fact that when cases like this come up, the court of public opinion takes the lead. All the people there are innocent until proven guilty. Full stop. It's up to the public prosecutor to make sure that the evidence that he brings to court proves guilt. And in questions of evidence, on the defense side, the moment they start plugging holes of doubt, then the prosecutor has to make sure that the evidence he's putting out there is strong. I won't go any further. I just want the OSP to come into court with a watertight evidence that will do what? That would indict them. If he doesn't bring watertight evidence and they are found innocent, then there's a huge question mark why he brought this case to court.
And if they are found innocent, not that they are found innocent, all these mark shots that he had put out there, their reputational damage, they'll come for restitution.
So
they'll file for claims.
As much as possible in this country, let's try not to play the public opinion card. If this were any other country, yes, you hear they have been arrested, and that would be till the facts come out in court. Remember, the law is in the bosom of the judge. The judge will listen to both sides, use the law, and see whether, yes, the accused are guilty or not. So, it's coming to court when? Is it 23rd?
23rd, yes.
23rd of July.
It's on Wednesday.
Let's see.
Well, I have a small, maybe Lawyer Mam can help me, and Lawyer Pebu. What is the implication of charging a business entity, Curl or Justice? If you say you've charged them in a criminal trial, what does it mean? Who are you going to hold?
So it's through the directors. The law allows it.
Not a civil case, but
no, criminal. It's always been our law, but we don't use it that much. It's in the Act 30. You can charge a company.
Okay. So then what would be the sanction for sin?
Yes. So
let's say the director who is in charge now was not the one who committed the offense. What do you do?
So the one who is in charge now should come and answer. If the company, they think they have a strong defense, and the former one will be the best to testify, they'll go bring him to come in.
No. What I mean is that, yes, the facts will be established that there was wrongdoing. But you say the directors will be held liable. So what happens to the directors? Are they likely to suffer jail terms upon conviction?
Sometimes it depends. Sometimes yes.
No. Okay. So, for instance, as I said, you were the director who was in charge at the time the offense happened, but you are no longer there. A new director, Mr. Mam is a new director. But it was during your time that this company has been charged for this offense. So you will be the one to go there.
Yes, the one who is currently.
So what then happens if you are found guilty? Would it be fair to jail you when you were not responsible for the activity?
I believe that if it could be inferred by piercing the veil that even though Lawyer Kwebu is the current director of the company,
he didn't commit the...
but it could be inferred by fact and law that indeed I perpetuated fraud, even though I could be held to...
No, but for the company, let's make it simple this way. The director won't go to jail. Yes. If once they say the corporate, so it's a corporate entity that will be found liable, they will pay fines, etc.
Whatever the case is, if he's not dead, he can be pulled in.
But individually, but not as a
individual. It's a company. It's an interesting...
Thank you very much. And Dr. Zato has agreed to just see, and so we have to round up very quickly. I say thank you very much on this. A number of you sending us messages. Erickson MK says, the simple question any compos mentis homo sapien will ask is, if the National Cathedral Secretariat believes and trusts that the financial statements are apt and exonerated them of any wrongdoing, why then did they contract Deloitte to conduct investigation into the same financials? You say questions must be answered. Eric on Facebook, and the 4,132 messages from you. I say thank you very much for connecting with us and sharing in the conversation. I thank you, Christian Mamhesi. Appreciate you for coming. Also, Martin Pebu, we meet again next week. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also to you, Kwame Jantua, thank you so much. And Dr. Joshua Zato, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Phyllis Kwacho for thank you. Thank you. Let me finish. Let me finish.